And number 10, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Now, it's no lie that Jennifer Lawrence's career started off strong due to some of her iconic roles in films such as The X-Men and Hunger Games. She also worked really hard for her roles in the films Winter's Bone and Silver Lining Playbook. At the time, she made us think she could do it all, and her down-to-earth personality made us all love her. But then everything started to change and we actually all just started to get pretty annoyed with her actions. Even one time the star appeared on SNL and began to rage on with her quirky, annoying, relatable charm, and fans started to believe that she was just another Hollywood diva hiding behind this fake cute persona. Then she started appearing in films such as Mother and Red Sparrow, which caused her career to splinter and her fan base would then start to divide. Also, we can't forget the time in Hawaii when she caused a sacred rock fall down the mountain. Whatever the reasons may be, we all can't stop hating on this actor recently. And number 9, Katy Perry. Katy Perry is no stranger to intense media attention, as the pop star has always had high levels of public criticism. It's no lie that Katy Perry absolutely dominated the music scene in 2010 with numerous monster singles off of her album Teenage Dream. However, then the Witness era started and everyone kinda recoiled their support for the star. After Katy cut her hair and dyed it blonde, she would set out to release a string of embarrassing singles like her songs Bon Appetit and Swish Swish. Both songs were actually pretty horrifying to listen to. On top of the songs, Katy began to act really weird and we all didn't catch on to her odd behavior until she made an appearance on Ellen, and it made us all cringe. She even had Ellen wishing the show was over. Now, Katy was dealing with depression at the time, which likely played a huge part in her odd behavior and dramatic transformation. However, her newly woke image and her ongoing feud with Taylor Swift have been pretty criticized, and it's hard to support the star as she isn't willing to grow, learn, and change. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Kanye West. Now, Kanye West is iconic, and he's been pretty popular as a rapper as he's gone on to sell millions of albums. However, that hasn't stopped people from having negative opinions about him. Now, we all used to love Kanye for his ability to speak his mind, however, his actions lately have us all pretty divided when it comes to supporting the star. Many people have started to view Kanye as someone who can't be trusted because it seems like everything lately seems to set the rapper off, and he's been saying a lot of controversial things that make us all just shake our heads. Kanye has been making it into headlines for the wrong reasons, and it has us all questioning why he would try to achieve fame with such meaningless and hurtful statements. I think we can all agree we miss the old Kanye. And number 7, James Charles. James Charles rose to fame quickly when he became the first male CoverGirl spokesperson at the age of 16. However, following a feud with fellow beauty blogger Tati Westbrook, James's following would fall from 16 million to 13 million followers. The drama over James promoting Sugar Bear hair vitamins, which is a direct competitor to Tati's hair supplement company Halo Beauty, would cause both stars to cut ties with each other, and Tati would then come for James and would start to expose a list of his bad behaviors. James's behavior online to be successful and adored by thousands had covered up a dark layer of his true personality, and after Tati exposed him, he only seemed to spiral more out of control, which made us all unfollow the star as we could no longer ignore the red flags he was sending us. And number 6, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star is a pretty problematic character. No matter what, he's always in the drama. He's caught lying or trying his hardest just to get in or out of drama, and it's exhausting trying to keep up with him. The man has made it his whole life to know the tea on just about every situation in Hollywood, and it really makes us wonder how he has so much time on his hands to be so problematic. Over the years, many people have started calling out the makeup guru, and his fans have a tendency to forget that he hasn't changed and that he's actually just managed to make us all think he did, so he can carry on with his chaotic lifestyle. Jeffree has a tendency to target people and belittle them in ways to make his views soar. Now, you think after being exposed so many times, he would wake up and see that his behavior is no longer okay, but it looks like he won't be changing anytime soon, as his influence has always been problematic, and that's why he's been cancelled. Number 5, Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne has recently taken aim at Prince Harry for doing a terrible thing by cutting his 3-year-old son and 1-year-old daughter off from the rest of their family. On an episode of Talk TV, the outspoken media personality and her panel discussed the trailers of Harry's bombshell TV interviews, which aired in the US and the UK on Sunday. During the debate, Sharon would say it was such an ugly situation for the children whose ties with the extended family have been cut because of Meghan and Harry's rift with the royal family. Sharon would go on to note, "It's finally enough as families argue all the time. And there is nothing like a good old family bust up and then you get back together again, it's normal. But what's not normal is Harry's children, as they will now be forced to grow up with no family, not on his wife's side or his side, and that's a terrible thing for children." Sharon would then claim that the time is now turning against Harry and Meghan in the United States, and it seems like only the younger generation is continuing to support them by saying, "I think older generations have definitely had it up to here with their whining." Number 4. Jeremy Clarkson. Former Top Gear host Jeremy Clarkson has never been more sensitive of souls. The TV personality has built a career of offending pretty much every minority group, so it wasn't really surprising that he didn't think much of Prince Harry, barring his soul in his docu-series in 2021. Jeremy would say, "This man is an army officer, so he should know better than to make a program in which he waxes lyrical about the awfulness of his upbringing." Jeremy would then add, "The me you can't see is wit, and it should really be called the me you don't want to see, as that's nearer to the mark." He then put forward the theory that spoiled brats will end up overshadowing those individuals who seriously need help with their mental health. Jeremy would then claim that Harry's stiff upper lip approach has to work wonders. It's clear that Jeremy thinks Harry should know better than to complain about his upbringing, and Harry also calling out Jeremy for inciting violence towards women in cruel columns in The Sun, dreaming of Meghan's shame parade. It's clear that the two have a mutual hate towards each other, and it's clear that Jeremy also didn't like the docu-series, as he took to his column in The Sun and wished Meghan was treated like dirt. And while he did take to Twitter to apologize for his clumsy reference, he wouldn't apologize to Harry and Meghan. We'll probably never see that. Number 3, we have Candace Owens. Conservative commentator Candace Owens has never been one to mince her words, so it wasn't really unexpected that she would deliver one of the most scathing responses to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's talk with Oprah Winfrey. After watching the interview, Candace would put forward this theory that Harry was in an emotionally abusive relationship. Candace would then go on to imply that the couple, implying that everything was happening to them because of the color of Meghan's skin, was becoming a sickening level of scapegoating. What Harry's doing to his family is unforgivable. Candace would throw a major dig at Harry following the premiere of his Apple TV docu-series The Me You Can't See by referring the mental health docu-series. Candace would say in a tweet, "It's been 3 days since Prince Harry offered an exclusive interview regarding of how much he and Meghan hate his family. Can someone check on them, please?" Number 2, Piers Morgan. One can argue that Piers Morgan has a personal vendetta against Meghan Markle, which appears to stem solely from the time she apparently ghosted him after a date. However, it's clear that he doesn't really like Harry whatsoever as well, as Prince Harry is regularly ends up in the crosshairs of the disgraced ex-newspaper editor. In the space of just 1 month in 2021, Morgan went on a rant and claimed that the royal only criticized the First Amendment because he doesn't want to be held accountable by the press, and Piers would also tweet that Harry is a hypocrite who makes money off his public family drama. Piers would then offer his support to Noel Gallagher in his anti-Harry tirade. Of course, Morgan has also had plenty of time to weigh in on the Sussexes in general, since he walked away from his hosting gig on TV show Good Morning Britain Live after a fellow presenter challenged his constant harassment of Markle. However, after walking away, it's only given him more freedom to support his dislike towards both Harry and Meghan, and some of the things he said proves that he doesn't just have a personal vendetta towards Meghan, he hates both of the royals. At number 1 today, we have Noel Gallagher. During the peak of Britpop era, Noel Gallagher was deemed by many, including Prime Minister Tony Blair, to be the voice of his generation. Indeed, even if you weren't a fan of the Oasis Beatle aping indie rock, you could always appreciate a snappy one-liner from their guitarist Noel Gallagher. But a quarter century on, and Noel is in danger of sounding like the kind of person he used to rally against. In a 2021 interview with The Sun, Noel would describe Prince Harry as an effing woke snowflake in response to his criticism of the royal family, and referencing his own sibling rivalry with Liam Gallagher. Noel would admit that he sympathizes with Prince William, as he has a younger brother who is running his mouth off with things that are just really unnecessary to say, and that's why Noel finds himself being a lot like William. Noel has never been afraid to take a good jab at Meghan as well, as he would also say that everything is happening right now is happening because they got an American involved in their family matters. He would then ask viewers, how much of a C is Prince Harry? At number 10, we have Rose McGowan. Now, back in October of 2017, Rose McGowan slammed James Corden after he made some pretty serious insensitive jokes about a disgraced film producer. When James made the unwise joke during his monologue as the host on the Amphar Gala Los Angeles, James went on to say it was a weird week watching the disgraced film producer be in hot water, and then he went on to ask the audience if any woman in the crowd would watch him take a bath. Rose was not only disgusted with the audience for cheering on the comedian, but she was extremely disappointed with James Corden for making fun of someone who hurt a lot of women. Rose went on to say in a series of tweets where in one she called James Corden a mother king piglet, and in another one she said, hearing the roars and laughs shows exactly what kind of Hollywood you are. James would later come out with an apology and would acknowledge that his joke wasn't right and he was sorry for anyone he offended. However, James should have known better than to shed light on such a hurtful situation. At number 9, we have Halle Berry. Halle Berry is said to be one of the sweetest actors in Hollywood, so it makes you question what James might have done to get on her bad side. With the actress appearing on TBS Drop the Mic show with James, let's just say it got a little heated between the two stars. James would open up the show by mocking the star for her box office flop in the movie Catwoman. Halle then responded by acknowledging Catwoman tanked, but she took Kingsman to the Mother King Bank. The two would continue to spit back and forth with each other, with James's jokes being demeaning. Halle was quick to come to the battle to get the crowd to chant her name and won. But this wouldn't be the last of the two to work together. When Halle made an appearance on James's game show Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, the star would then go on to eat an unnamed animal body part to avoid answering a question. Now, if I had to eat some weird body part off an animal, I would probably refuse to work with the star ever again. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Pierce Brosnan. So this feud has had some pretty sour moments. During a game, James' show Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, James recalled a time where Pierce was rude to him at a U2 concert. During the game, James was asked if a celebrity has ever been rude to him at a party. Corden spoke of a time he attended the same U2 concert as Pierce. Now, Pierce was there with friends and they decided to leave halfway through the concert. James went on to note that he and his wife moved into the area that they were in, and Pierce went to push him out of the way when he came back. James went on to say the star didn't even acknowledge James and that he just continued to head back to his area. James then labeled him as the rudest celebrity alive. If someone called me rude after stealing my spot, I probably wouldn't want to work with them either, but at the same time, I certainly wouldn't have pushed them out of the way. Now, Pierce never talked about the incident, so who knows if it was actually true. At number 7, we have Patrick Stewart. Now, in 2010 at the Glamour Awards, James Corden was at the height of his career while he was hosting the event. However, Patrick Stewart was also present at the event, and he was tasked with presenting the category for Film of the Year. When he stepped up to do his role, Patrick would begin to tease the comedian for his body language throughout the event. Patrick would say, "I want to speak to James here." "It's James, isn't it?" James would then walk up to the star and the two had an epic stare down. While the star carried on with his critique, Patrick noted that when the presenters were on stage and the recipients were receiving their awards, James was standing in the back of the stage with his hands in his pockets, looking around like he wished he was anywhere but in the event. Now the two began to spit insults back and forth with each other until James made a pretty insensitive joke about Patrick's age. Well, all I can say is age doesn't define us, and sometimes it's better just to laugh at yourself than to overreact. Number 6, we have Liam Gallagher. Liam Gallagher once called James Corden a knob while stating why he would never join the star on Carpool Karaoke. In an interview with GQ magazine, Liam branded the star as a knob and mistaken him for starring in Gavin and Stacey. Liam was asked if he would ever consider doing Carpool Karaoke, and he refused by saying, No thank you very much, not a chance mate. With that flat bloke from Kevin and Perry. Liam's girlfriend pointed out that the show he meant to say was BBC's comedy series Gavin and Stacey. Now, James starred in the show in 2007, and that's how he came to stardom. Liam then notes he never watched the show and he doesn't have to watch it in order to know he won't like it. Now, the two did seemingly make up just in time for Liam to play on James Corden's show back in October of 2017. But who knows how long the two will stay on good terms, as Liam once said he likes his potatoes roasted.
Number 5. Alec Baldwin. Another celebrity who has had no trouble calling out Tom Cruise was fellow actor Alec Baldwin in 2009. The dirty rock star hosted Elle magazine's Women in Hollywood dinner and award show, and what he said had even Tom's wife at the time, Katie Holmes, laughing along with everyone. The actor joked about coming up with a solution to the disproportionate salaries between men and women in Hollywood, and then seemingly came up with an idea to solve the pay gap. Quote, "I believe we can balance the scales if Tom Cruise would lower his quote by a mere $29 million. I realize this may be a little bit unfair since he's not here to defend himself, and I really don't want to put all of this on one man, but if I had to, that man would be Tom Cruise." He went on to assure the audience that his own salary was nothing compared to Tom's. In fact, his annual salary, as he said, is the budget from mints that were featured in one of his movies. But as the saying goes, there really is a grain of truth in every joke. According to Variety, the actor is expected to earn $100 million or more from his new movie Top Gun Maverick, which would be one of the biggest paydays for an actor for a single movie ever. Number 4. Leah Remini. A former longtime Scientologist, King of Queens star Leah Remini opened up about her experiences in the church in her 2015 memoir Troublemaker, much to the disdain of Tom Cruise. In her book, Leah also made some shocking allegations about several well-known Hollywood celebrities. In fact, she recalled a time that she and her husband Angelo spent time at Tom Cruise's Beverly Hills mansion when he invited a group of well-known Scientologists and other celebrities including Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. He announced to all the guests that he wanted to play hide and seek and pressured everyone to join in. Remini also explained another bizarre incident when Tom had a meltdown over cookies. Quote, "Once he wanted to make cookies, and there was a package of pre-packaged cookie dough on the counter. He asked, 'Guys, where's the cookie stuff?' Tom seemed like a child who had never been told no, and he screamed at his assistant." And when Top Gun Maverick came out, Remini cautioned fans about supporting him, saying, "Don't let the movie star charm fool you. And no, I will not watch the movie, nor will I ever support or approve of this scam of a man." So she's clearly not one to forgive or forget. Number 3. Katie Holmes. Back in 2012, the former Hollywood power couple Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes announced to the world that they were getting a divorce after 6 years of marriage. News of the A-list split sent shockwaves through the world of show business and sparked waves of rumors and speculation as to why the pair decided to call it quits. After a whirlwind romance, the couple got married in a luxurious Italian wedding ceremony and welcomed their first child together, Suri Cruz. So their divorce came as a shock to everyone. The major reason was allegedly Katie's aversion to raising their daughter in Scientology. Tom basically confirmed this during a 2013 deposition, admitting that this was one of the reasons that his ex-wife filed for divorce. He also revealed that his daughter, Suri, who was just 7 years old at the time, was no longer a practicing member of the Church of Scientology. This was a pretty surprising admission, considering that those who leave the religion are often cut off from other practicing members, which is probably why Katie won sole custody of Suri, which reportedly included ironclad rulings that she would not be exposed to anything Scientology related. And to this day, it appears as though the former couple aren't exactly on good terms, as Tom reportedly hasn't even seen his daughter in years. Number 2. Mickey Rourke. In a new interview with Piers Morgan Uncensored, the boxer turned actor was asked about Tom Cruise, and he made it quite clear that he wasn't a fan at all. It was mentioned that his new movie, Top Gun Maverick, made over $1 billion at the box office, and Rourke said, "That doesn't mean jack to me. This guy's been doing the same effing part for 35 years. I got no respect for that." Rourke went on to list some of the actors whose careers he does enjoy and admire, unlike Tom's. And when Morgan asked whether or not he thinks of Cruise as a good actor, Rourke just said, "I think he's irrelevant in my world." And back in 2005, when Tom criticized Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants, Mickey spoke out against him then. Quote, "My therapist saved my effing life and my career. I don't care what Tom Cruise says about therapy. F him." Picking on poor Brooke Shields. People need medicine and they need therapists. Let the Scientologists go effing live on a planet of their own. He was referring to the fact that Scientologists strictly oppose psychiatry and therapy as it goes against their core beliefs. So he's made it pretty clear that he doesn't think very highly of the Hollywood star. And coming in at number 1, John Travolta. Both are active, high-ranking members of the Church of Scientology, but it has been since revealed that the two are not exactly friends. The truth came out when a former bodyguard from the church, Brendan Teague, revealed in 2018 that John Travolta was furious when Tom achieved the highest honor in the organization in 2008. He was awarded the Freedom Medal of Valor from the leader of the organization, David Miscavige. This award is only given to its most dedicated member. John was also said to be frustrated over the fact that Tom has become a major player in the church, and to this day is one of the best known members in the world. Brendan Teague claimed that this event left Travolta feeling extremely jealous. Eventually he grew so angry that he decided to express himself and wrote a scathing letter to Miscavige, which reportedly included the question, "What the hell was this medal all about?" The reason being is that the actor believed himself to be the most dedicated member of the church, and had allegedly introduced more members than any other celebrity. So when he was passed over for the award, John began to despise Tom. It didn't help that only 2 years earlier, John wasn't invited to Tom's wedding with Katie Holmes, so their relationship was already rocky to begin with. Number 10, Lea Michele. The actress who played the most arrogant character on Glee has recently been outed as being one of the meanest celebrities in Hollywood. The music TV series that helped Lea Michele rise to fame was also her undoing, as it looks like the horrible way she treated the cast and crew on set came back to bite her. Many of her peers, including actress Samantha Ware, spoke out against her behavior. She told Variety, quote, "It was after I did my first performance. That's when it started. The silent treatment, the stare downs, the looks, the comments under her breath, the weird passive aggressiveness, it all built up." After Samantha spoke out, dozens of co-stars, film crew and staff flooded social media with stories about the diva. There were even reports of Michelle only speaking to people through her assistant and not acknowledging her co-star's presence. As expected, she came out and issued an apology, but people still haven't forgotten about her atrocious behavior, and when it was announced that she was replacing fellow actress Beanie Feldstein in the Broadway production of Funny Girl, fans were up in arms and some have even called for a boycott. Number 9, Mike Myers. His name is synonymous with the hilarious and charismatic character Austin Powers. However, the actor is reportedly completely different in real life, especially on set. There have been numerous reports suggesting that Myers is a nightmare to work with some even claiming him to be a control freak and grumpy. It has come to light that the actor makes tons of demands of his assistants. In fact, Myers reportedly made life a daily nightmare for the cast and crew of one of his biggest films. According to Amy Hill, who was his co-star in The Cat in the Hat, she said it was a horrible, nightmarish experience. Hill claimed that he selfishly kept everyone waiting for hours, overruled the director, and even had someone standing by just holding his personal chocolates in a dish. Quote, "It was so weird, it was just the worst, I was miserable." Another story involves a fan that offered to buy the actor a drink. After telling Myers how much he enjoyed his work, Myers allegedly just looked at him and said, "I can afford my own drinks," cursed at him, and said, "Save your money for my next movie." Ouch. Apart from being notoriously difficult to work with, his mean-spirited attitude towards regular people have shrunk his fan base down to a fraction of what it used to be. Number 8, Rachel Ray. The celebrity cook has a reputation for being a meanie. Many fans in her audience have reported that before filming her show, she often avoids speaking to them and appears cold and disinterested, and just looks like she would rather be somewhere else. But it's not just her fans, in fact, several famous chefs have publicly come out saying that they straight up don't like her, like Martha Stewart and the late Anthony Bourdain. Even members of Ray's own family have turned against her. In 2013, scandal broke out after Ray Ray's aunt, Geraldine, tragically died while staying at Ray's house. But neither Ray nor her husband John showed up at the funeral. Instead, she was allegedly tweeting about cats, recipes, and TV shows, which led her cousin, Gina Mesnick, to speak out against her. Quote, "I found it very insensitive and inappropriate. It just shows how demeaning Rachel was to my family on the day we buried my mom after she died under such horrible circumstances." Her fan base is now practically non-existent. In fact, a good portion of the internet harbors a deep loathing for the chef. There's so many online forums dedicated to Rachel Ray slander. In fact, there's even a blog called Rachel Ray Sucks, and you can guess what kind of things people post on there. Number 7, Russell Crowe. The actor has had a reputation for being outright mean to both his Hollywood peers and his fans, making him an extremely controversial figure in the industry. I mean, where to start with Russell Crowe? There were rumors that he threatened any media platform that published stories about him having a fling with Courtney Love. But a great example of his overall attitude is when he intimidated and attacked the producer of the BAFTA Awards for cutting his speech short and preventing him from reciting poetry. In 2005, he was then charged with criminal possession of a weapon for allegedly throwing a phone and cutting a hotel clerk's eye, all because he was unable to get connected with his wife. One of the lesser talked about but worrying incidents involves Crowe and rapper Azealia Banks. Crowe forcibly removed her from a party he was hosting. Not only that, but he was said to have been violent and allegedly spat on her and used racist language. The Australian actor is also notoriously difficult to work with and is known for regularly shouting at his scriptwriters, yelling at them on phone calls while discussing the story. So it's safe to say that he lost not only film roles but a lot of fans due to his outright nastiness. Number 6, Jared Leto. The actor and singer really seemed to be getting a lot of backlash in recent years, especially in the era of the Me Too movement. It seemed that out of his fellow Hollywood celebrities, not everyone was willing to be silent when they heard he was behaving inappropriately towards young women. In 2018, Suit Life of Zack and Cody star Dylan Sprouse came forward on Twitter and brought disturbing allegations against him to light. Quote, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?" As you would have predicted, the tweet totally blew up and many people were happy that he was finally getting called out. The situation quickly escalated when Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn tweeted the following as an answer to Sprouse's initial tweet. Quote, "He starts at 18 on the internet? Aside from predatory behavior, Leto has treated his fans horribly and was seen on occasion randomly giving the finger to audience members. As a result, he really doesn't have many mainstream fans left, save for the fans of his cult/band 30 Seconds to Mars."
Halfway number 5, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is a celebrity with mixed reviews. Tons of people say she's down to earth and loves her fans, while others have shared some negative experiences with the star. One person shared their experience working with Minaj on set, writing, quote, "I've worked with Nicki Minaj before and while on a set with her, I was told not to look her in the face. She also had people move out of the room before she would come in the room. It was a whole ordeal." And at number 4, Miles Teller. Miles Teller being on this list should not be a shock to anyone, because he is constantly called out for his horrible behavior. Even reporters that have interviewed him have called him entitled and rude. He's even trashed well-loved and respected actors like John Cusack. When a reporter told him they are similar actors, Teller replied, quote, "I guess we look alike, we did some similar movies. He wasn't traditionally good looking, who was offbeat and quirky but confident. I get it, but I don't want his career." And people who have met him in real life have had similar experiences. They wrote, quote, "I met Miles Teller at a bar, he told my friend to buy him a drink and he still refused to take a picture with him. He ended up smacking my phone out of my hand and I'll never watch a movie with him in it again." And at number 3, Jim Belushi. One fan shared just how terrible Jim Belushi was to them after they waited hours for an autograph. To make it worse, one of Belushi's co-stars was incredibly nice and made the contrast even worse. They wrote, quote, "Years ago us kids waited for Jim Belushi and John Candy after they shot Only the Lonely in Chicago. Asked Belushi for an autograph and he literally called us a bunch of pieces of stupid kids and to get the F out of there. Then came Candy with a big old smile and a cigar hanging out of his mouth, and he spent the next 10 minutes signing autographs and thanking all of his fans." And at number 2, Alec Baldwin. Given all the scandals that Alec Baldwin has been in, it's no surprise that he's notoriously rude. He's attacked paparazzi, gotten in physical fights with hecklers, and he's been known to be very arrogant. One Reddit user spoke of their interaction and wrote, quote, "One day in the Hamptons, I ran into Alec Baldwin and his wife and their 2 dogs. I was 6. so I wanted to pet their dogs. Mind you, they left their dogs outside of the store, so I didn't know they were theirs. They quickly yanked their dogs away from me and yelled at me. I was 6. That just proves the kind of people they are. I mean, who gets mad at a kid for petting a dog that you left outside? And finally, number 1, Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is apparently so awful in real life, multiple Reddit users shared negative experiences with him. One user said, quote, "My brother met Gene Simmons backstage at a show he was playing in. Gene complimented my brother highly on his guitar playing, but then said, quote, 'Too bad you'll never make it,' and just walked away." Another person told the story of his dad running into Simmons after one of his Kiss shows. The dad complimented Simmons on the show, and he replied, quote, "I hope the next time you're sucking to impress someone you pucker up more," and then walked off. My dad was pissed and told his friends it was time to go, and the bartender stopped them on their way out. Before he left, Gene and his entourage told the bartender that my dad was paying for their drinks. It cost my dad almost $100 to pay for their alcohol. So that's all for the list. Let me know your thoughts below and let me know anyone that you want to see in a part 2.
Number 10, Chevy Chase. In 1978, Murray infamously got into a physical altercation with Chase Chevy. After the star returned to Saturday Night Live as a guest host, it began with the two trading some pretty heavy insults towards each other. It started when Murray telling Chase to go get with his wife, and Chase responded by telling Murray his face looked like something Neil Armstrong landed on. The insults seemed to escalate as quickly as their comebacks did, and television following the rest of the cast watched the two display in a physical altercation. Larnie Newman noted, "It was a very sad and painful thing to watch unfold during her appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in June of 2021. In May of 2012, Murray called his part in the scandal a childish feeling of jealousy and anger he let control him. He went on to say things that he was mad that Chevy left the cast of Saturday Night Live and Murray somehow was avenging Angel, who had to speak for everybody else. Chevy and Murray are soon back on good terms after the fiasco, and everything was fine as the two starred together in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack shortly after the altercation. Number 9. Richard Dreyfuss. Oscar winner Richard explained when he was working with Murray on the 1991 film What About Bob that Murray was a bully. He explained that Bill drank a lot at dinner and let his true colors showed and allowed everybody to see how much of a bully he was. When reflecting on his whole experience on set, he highlighted one incident where he asked Murray to read a tweak in the script and Murray lost his temper. He went on to say that the star became face to face with him, so close that their noses were touching. Murray then went on to scream at Richard at the top of his lungs and said, "Everybody hates you, you are tolerated." Richard then went on to note that he had no time to react because Murray then proceeded to throw an ashtray at him. Luckily the ashtray missed, and rather than making things worse, Richard decided to leave the room. Richard showed us that Murray has a violent past, not just with female co-stars, but also with his male ones. Number 8, we have Laura Ziskin. Richard Dreyfuss wasn't the only person who had problems with Murray and how he handled himself on the set of filming What About Bob. As producer, Laura Ziskin has said that she once had a disagreement with Murray, which resulted in him tossing her into a lake. Although at the time she called it playful, in 2003 she claimed the event wasn't so playful, as throughout the set, Murray started to become more aggressive. In one incident, Murray asked Laura for an extra day off, and when she said no, he had an epic meltdown and took Laura's glasses off before breaking them and throwing them across the parking lot. The altercation caused everybody to walk off production, and a bunch flew back to LA to film, only after Disney hired some bodyguards to physically separate Murray from harming anyone else between takes. Bill Murray tried to justify his actions in an interview back in 1991, saying he didn't get along with many of his cast and directors, and all he was doing was standing up for himself. Number 7, we have Harold Ramis. Bill Murray had a long decade estrangement from his longtime friend and collaborator Harold. Sadly, the two's friendship collapsed while on set of the film 1993 Groundhog's Day. During a heated creative dispute, Harold said he grabbed Murray's shirt collar and the two got into a heated altercation. In a book later released by Harold's daughter Violet titled Ghostbusters' Daughter: Life of My Dad, Violet would go on to note that the incident happened and Murray wouldn't speak to Harold for over 20 years, and even though Harold tried not to take it personally, he was ultimately left feeling heartbroken and confused about the unsurprised rejection. Murray was unheard from up until Harold was in the hospital, and Murray showed up to visit his old pal unannounced at 7 a.m. in February of 2014 with a box of donuts and a police escort. With Harold losing his ability to speak, he was no longer able to speak to Murray before his passing. However, Murray didn't mind and hung out with Harold for a couple of hours anyways. I'm glad Bill was able to put the two's differences aside and came together for his friend before his passing. Number 6, we have McG. Moving on to the set of Charlie's Angels, filmed in 2000s, director McG, whose real name is Joseph McGinty Nichol, claimed in an interview with Guardian in May of 2009 that working on movies can be pretty stressful at times, even adding that he doesn't think he's ever been on a film that hasn't had some type of altercation break out. In one incident, his nose was obliterated when his head collided with another. At first he didn't want to recall the name of the actor with respect, however he went on to say it was Bill Murray. And the industry is very passionate industry, and people take care of their own work. When Murray heard about the interview, he did his own interview with Times of London in October 2009. The star went on to note that Joseph has a really active imagination and he doesn't understand why he would make up that story. He then took to the situation further by stating a really serious sentence that made many feel uncomfortable. With Joseph coming forward about his experience in past film sets encountering the same situation, it's easy to see why Bill would lie to cover up the allegations, but now that more stars are coming forward, it's clear that McG had nothing to lie about and was warning us all about the actor before these events could happen again.
Number 5, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix was another actor to step into the role of the Joker in a later standalone movie. He was one of the best to do it in my opinion, although I don't think anyone can top Heath Ledger. But Joaquin apparently almost got stripped of the movie role because of Jared Leto. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Jared was under the impression that his initial stunt as the Joker would lead to many more movie roles, and there were talks about Jared being the Joker and the movie Joaquin would end up starring in. But likely due to making everyone uncomfortable and unsafe, none of those roles came to fruition. When he got wind that Joaquin Phoenix would be taking on the role to tell the supervillain's origin story, Jared reportedly felt, quote, alienated and upset. In response to the news, Jared actually attempted to stop the new production from happening. The outlet claims that he complained about the movie to both his agents and CAA, and even tried to contact Warner Bros. Partner company to get the movie pulled, obviously to no success. Considering it seems Jared has burned most of his bridges with anyone involved in the DC universe, don't expect him to return as the Joker in any capacity anytime soon, though you'll be able to watch Joaquin probably reprise his role in a sequel. Number 4, Viola Davis. Although Jared Leto makes tons of people uncomfortable while on the set of the Joker, none were as outspoken about how upset it made them like Viola Davis was. In an interview with Entertainment News, Viola said that she was less than pleased with a box of bullets that Leto sent her while on set for the comic book adaptation. Quote, it was a little worrisome. It made you a little nervous, and I'm pretty tough. You know, I got into a few fights when I was growing up, but it scared me a little bit. She then said that she only ever really met Jared after filming ended because he was in character the entire time they were on set. Quote, before that I was only introduced to the Joker, and I almost had my pepper spray out. You know, you remember the bullets you sent me? He gave very interesting gifts. I did not receive any personally, or else I would have got my husband, who's called Headache Ball back in the day when he played football, and I would have said take care of the Joker. I almost wish he did send her a gift now just to see how that drama would unfold. Number 3, Cameron Diaz. Not many women have had long-lasting relationships with Jared Leto, except for one woman, Cameron Diaz. They were initially linked back in 1999, and a lot of people suspected that Jared was a rebound for Cameron, who just broke up with her previous boyfriend of a year. Despite maintaining a low-profile relationship, news circulated in 2000 that the couple were engaged. Cameron was spotted with a $15,000 ring at the 2003 Golden Globe Awards. That being said, Cameron was always very hesitant to talk about her relationship with Jared, saying that she didn't want to jinx it. But I guess no need, because the two broke up in 2003. Although she never commented on the relationship directly, she did make hints to Jared being awful to her. Quote, my rule is that there are no tricks in this game. I believe in honesty and communication and in treating people the way you want to be treated. Love should be unconditional. And for his part too, Jared had admitted that he, quote, wasn't very nice to her. whatever that means. Number 2, Dylan Sprouse. Dylan Sprouse, the Suite Life of Zack and Cody star, very publicly came for Jared Leto's throat back in 2018 when he tweeted out, quote, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?" Jared has a history of liking women who are much younger than him, and Dylan is coming for his throat. Maybe someone close to him got a particularly creepy DM, but either way, he was not having any of his nonsense. The tweet garnered almost 50,000 likes. Although Jared Leto nor his team have made any attempt to reply or even give any mention to the tweet, a lot of users did seem to suggest that there was an open secret about Jared Leto only liking barely legal girls. And lastly, James Gunn, the director of Suicide Squad. In a now deleted tweet that was a reply to Dylan Sprouse's shade posted after he had filmed Suicide Squad, James very not so subtly hinted at some very serious allegations. In response to Dylan's tweet, James Gunn said, quote, "He starts at 18 on the internet." James Gunn insinuating that Jared Leto tries hooking up with underage fans is extremely off base, and comes as no surprise to those who follow the actor after he was accused of being inappropriate with multiple teenage fans.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Megan Fox. Because kindness still isn't universal online, Megan Fox has had to deal with some pretty nasty comments with some disrespectful fans. However, the star has also shot back some pretty sarcastic comments with fans to prove she's not the nicest person to deal with. Even crew members on the Transformers set have noted it was unbearable and ungracious to work with the star. When the 3 anonymous crew members who work with Megan on the blockbuster film came forward to talk about their time working on the set with her, they would become an open book and they would brand Megan as a dumb, ungracious, rude, and unbearable actress, and that it was just the tip of the toxic iceberg that they melted. The crew members went on to explain that after working for 12 months on set making 2 movies with the star, she showed little interest in the crew members around her, and while the crew worked extremely hard to make her look good in every single way, she never appreciated anyone's hard work, and she never even said thank you. After she would be replaced after the second Transformers movie, after being difficult to work with, Megan would try to defend herself by saying the director, Michael Bay, was actually the nightmare to work with. However, once the crew members came forward anonymously against Megan, it would show the star was definitely someone you don't want to communicate with in Hollywood. Number 9, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is known for her work in Charlie's Angels and countless romantic comedies. However, she isn't known for being pleasant during fan interactions. If you were maybe looking to get an autograph from the star one day, you might just want to rethink that thought, as Cameron isn't afraid to refuse to give any fan a lecture on how dumb autographs are. During the red carpet event for the premiere of X-Tape, several eyewitnesses would come forward to say how awful Cameron was to her admirers. Fans have also explained that her behavior and attitude with them was absolutely disgusting. After fans waited hours for a chance to meet her, they would be ignored and some would even be lectured. Cameron at one point even yelled at one of her fans by saying, "If I did it for you, I'd have to do it for everyone," before storming off. Cameron is known to be pretty unfriendly with her fans, and it's honestly pretty disappointing. However, she wouldn't be the only one to be rude and show terrible attitude towards fans during the X-Tape premiere, as Jason Segel would also be extremely rude to their fans who were there admiring the movie and them. With there only being 4 to 5 fans actually waiting for them, it would have taken less time for them to take a few photos and sign a couple autographs than it did to lecture their fans. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8 today, we have Rihanna. So in 2014, Rihanna would come under fire as it would be discovered that she was cyberbullying a 16-year-old fan over her prom outfit. So Alexis Carter took style inspiration from Rihanna for her Hollywood-themed prom at her Baltimore high school in 2010. So the look Alexis tried to recreate was a look where Rihanna wore a head-turning teal wing jumpsuit. So Alexis loved this look so much that she decided to create her own version of the outfit, and then she would share some of the photos of her prom ensemble on social media. When memes quickly started to take off showing the teen extending her arms and the material with the wings on full display. In one of the shots, she's shown next to a really glamorous red carpet photo of Rihanna in the exact same outfit with a caption saying Instagram versus real life comparison outfits. Another set of photos would also go viral with Alexis's pose, and she would be pictured next to a curved W of the Wu-Tang symbol. Rihanna would then share the images on her Twitter account, adding a frowny face to the one comparison photo of her. When the singer went to great lengths to put the pictures up side by side mocking the fan, other fans would come to tell Riri that her move was uncool. However, when Rihanna posted a comparison photo of Alexis's dress with the Wu-Tang symbol, saying she gets it, we can't imagine anything more humiliating for a 16-year-old than to be mocked by your idol. And number 7, Hailey Bieber. Hailey Bieber got slammed over social media after a viral TikTok claimed that she was rude to a former restaurant hostess, Julia Carolyn. In the video, Julia would say that this is going to be controversial. I met Hailey a handful of times and every time she was just not nice. I really want to like her, but I have to give her 3.5 out of 10. Sorry. After Hailey found out about the video, she would end up taking to the comments to say, just came across this video and wanted to say sorry if I've ever given you bad vibes or bad attitude. That's not my intention. She also added that she hopes to one day meet the hostess again to apologize in person. Afterwards, Hailey would then open up and say she felt bad about Julia's experience with her and that it wasn't the greatest and that the whole situation actually made her frustrated because you never know what someone's going through. Hailey then tried to explain that she was going through some pretty tough times and she was sad and heartbroken and felt like engaging with people was really hard for her. She wished she didn't act that way and that she made a mistake out of character for her, but if it happened on every occasion that you met her, do you really expect us to believe that it was really out of character for you? Coming in at number 6, Kendall Jenner. Now, Hailey wouldn't be the only celebrity that Julia would call out, as in 2 videos posted to her TikTok, she would reveal that she didn't have the best interactions with Kendall and Kylie Jenner. With Kendall being one of the most low-key members of the family, she's exhibited some pretty outrageous diva behavior in the past. In 2014, the model would find herself making headlines after finding herself in a situation with Mercer Kitchen in New York City. Jenner would be dining with her best friend, Hailey Bieber, and she got upset at the fact that the staff didn't want to serve her any more alcohol, so she decided it'd be a good idea to leave the establishment without paying for her meal. When she got confronted by the staff, she would then throw $20 at them without even checking to see if that was enough to cover her bill and her tip. 3 years after the initial dine and dash, Kendall would find herself under fire again after she failed to tip. When the establishment posted a picture of the receipt on their Instagram page, they would say, "Don't forget to tip your bartender." Kendall would then try to cover up her tracks by saying, "Next time we won't tip in cash." While it's hard to believe what actually happened in both of these separate events, Julia did reveal on her TikTok that Kendall doesn't talk to the staff and her behavior never really comes across well for those in the restaurant industry. Number 5, Paris Hilton. If you don't remember, I should probably remind you that Kim Kardashian once used to organize Paris Hilton's closet, and Paris wasn't always very nice about it. Back in the day, Paris also did an interview with 17 where she would confess that she was in the popular clique in her high school and her and Nicole Richie were the leaders of the group. During the interview, Paris would be asked what kind of clique she was in back then till now, and Paris would quickly respond by saying the popular clique. And she would then go on to say, Nicole Richie and I were the leaders of the group. Now I still hang out with Nicole, my sister, Nikki, my cousins, and the people I've known for 10 years. I don't really trust many people, so I keep my friends very close. Paris would also go on to say that a lot of people didn't really go on to start rumors about her because they were all scared of her. Well, it seems like today most of the girls on this list have claimed that they have left their mean girl ways behind them and found a way to use their confidence in a way to support others, but we still see Paris go back to her mean girl days every time she wants to not leave her past in the past, especially when it comes to her ongoing feud with Lindsay Lohan. Number 4, Adele. Seeing how Adele is one of the most humblest women today alive, it makes it pretty hard to believe that she would be the type of person to pick a fight and drop a hat when she was younger. But it seems like behind her humble attitude, Adele is actually pretty feisty, and it's honestly quite interesting to hear. When Adele was younger, it seems like she was so full of rage that she would gladly pick a fight with anyone over anything like a reality TV show, or if anyone said anything to her ears that sounded completely wrong. While bullies usually tend to not be that complicated, it seems that everyone has this trigger that people shouldn't seek to see or push. While fighting will never solve your problems, it seems like all it does is make consequences for your actions instead. With saying that, it seems like when you watch someone lose their cool, it explains how some people aren't coping with a lot of things well, and this is a way that shows us their lives are really unbalanced and they take it out on their peers to feel better about themselves. While Adele is clearly not a mean girl anymore like she used to be, she now uses her platform to squash hate and spread love. Number 3, Vanessa Hudgens. While we all grew up to love Vanessa Hudgens' sweet girl next door character on High School Musical, it's clear that she wasn't that sweet during her own high school years, and apparently she's still pretty mean to this day. day. While one might think that a star whose old boyfriend was getting catcalled and receiving so much attention from fans might get the idea, despite his popularity, that he's still into her, but Vanessa apparently was having none of it when her and Zac Efron were dating, and she would even go out of her way to bully fans that wanted anything to do with her boyfriend at the time. Later, Vanessa would even admit that she would openly give other girls the death glare if they even so much looked in his direction with interest. Now, the actor has also gone on to claim that she eventually came to the realization of futility in this action, and she even eventually saw her actions being quite ridiculous. But I think we can all agree, you were both actors and you were rude to fans for falling at your feet, which isn't quite right. Well, you think the star would have just left the mean girl attitude behind in school and supported her boyfriend and his fans. If she was really that insecure around a person that was getting way too much attention, she should have probably just sat back and rethought her life rather than bullying others. Number 2, Scarlett Johansson. Seems like Christy Carlson Romano enjoys spilling the tea about Hollywood lately on her YouTube channel. The grown-up Disney star has been dishing the dirt on her past, and while Christy has been diving into her high school days, she would open up about how she was actually bullied in school. It's clear that even if you go to a professional theatrical performer school, you still encounter the mean girl stories. Christy went on to say, "I got bullied by a lot of kids. Some of them were famous. In fact, one of my biggest bullies is a really huge star." Now, Christy wouldn't name her bully, however, that wouldn't stop her from dropping some hints so fans could figure out who her bully was. With most of the jokes labeling Christy as a geek that was lanky, that had big teeth, her bullies would even call her Bucky Beaver and AAA because she was pretty flat-chested. Even after the actress found success on Broadway, she still felt like her bullying continued, and it got worse under the reign of one particular mean girl that fans have speculated was Scarlett Johansson. With Scarlett attending the same school, she was almost the same age as Christy, and the fact that she seems to be a baddie, and she seems to be like the only girl from Christy's school who is an A-list celebrity right now, makes you think, do you think the person Christy was talking about was Scarlett? And let us know in the comments below. And coming at number 1 today, we have Lily Allen. World's famous musician, Lily Allen, was touring the globe, and she's almost completely sold out a majority of her shows thanks to her release on some of her top charting singles. Now, Lily is mostly known for proudly speaking her mind, however, this is a trait that she often finds herself getting into a lot of trouble for. Lily, over the last couple of years, has been greeted with huge amounts of controversy when she's opted to make fun of several famous celebrities, such as Katy Perry and Amy Winehouse. However, she later admitted to insulting them because of her own insecurities. She's always been this outspoken rebel, and this attitude has been getting her into trouble her whole life. During her childhood, she would find herself being expelled from several different high schools, and she's even admitted that she considers herself to be a mean girl. While she isn't really proud of the fact, she once said, "Men aren't the enemy, I think women are the enemy." However, she does want to change, as she's also said, we should stop being so horrible to each other. But then she goes on to be horrible to others, so it's actually just pretty condescending. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Think Too Highly of Themselves. Sometimes you can reach a certain level of fame and you forget about all the hard work and people who helped get you to the top, and you start to forget about all of them, and in the process you can sometimes get lost and become too full of yourself. And this is exactly what happened to the Smith family. While Will and Jada seem to be the main targets of this statement, when the Los Angeles Times caught up with Janet Hubert to clarify her criticism of Jada and Will, whom she is already accused of screwing over the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air cast years earlier in contract talks, Janet would say that they simply needed to get over themselves by saying, "You ain't all that, you're not kings and queens, you're not royalty, you're simply entertainers." But this is clearly not how the Smith family sees things, especially Will, who back in 2007 had a Kanye West moment when he told the Daily Mail that his ambition was to be the first black president in US history, something to which Barack Obama beat him to first, and then Will went on to say that Barack Obama stole the idea from him, but it was okay as he went first and soon he will take his turn. In 2015, Will would then again tell CBS, I gotta be the president, come on. What else would I run for? Number 9. Jaden's an egomaniac. Jaden Smith's outlandish outlandish behavior certainly isn't helping with his mom and dad's reputation in Hollywood circles, despite a hit and miss record in his short career as an actor. The homeschooled young man has already irked movie makers and fans alike by declaring himself the future of filmmaking in many of his bizarre tweets. Jaden's online output had been both a source of entertainment and a cause for concern, with his cryptic comments about the world around him bordering on to seem delusional from time to time. In an interview with GQ magazine, Jaden would reveal that he had started an initiative called Mystery School, inspired by secretive work from ancient scholars. In the same interview, he would then refer to himself as being a scientist and claim that all of his past antics have been part of this large-scale social experiment, and he has become 100% fearless in the process. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Willow's chatter. If you thought Jaden was the most creative member of the Smith household, then you've yet to meet Willow. With Willow being 2 years younger than her brother, she still outdoes him when it comes to wacky comments and uncomfortable interviews. During a Q&A with the New York Times, Willow would reveal that she had the ability to manipulate time. When she said, "I mean, time for me, I can make it slow or fast. However I please, and that's how I know it doesn't exist." Willow then went on to tell Style magazine that she wrote her novels because there aren't any existing books she already likes. When the interviewer tried to get back on track with questions about which theme she felt reoccurring in her music, Willow answered by saying, "The feeling of being like this is a fragment of a holographic reality. That's a higher consciousness is made." Either there's a whole philosophical level to her track "Whip My Hair," the world is completely missing, or she's getting way too into quantum physics. But I would like to think if I whip my hair back and forth, I could figure out what she was trying to say. Number 7. The kids freaked out Sony executives. If you're thinking the Smith kids and their erratic behavior has no effect on Will's and Jada's standing in Hollywood, then you might want to change your minds, as a leaked email that was exchanged between Sony executives proves otherwise. If you read the T magazine profile on Jaden and Willow, you would know that TriStar chairman Tom Rothman emailed a link to the interview to another bigwig along with the message that said, "Message 1, read this. 2, they are homeschooled. Don't let this family date your movies." With Tom previously working with Will in 2 movies, that still didn't stop him from ridiculing the actor's kids. To the point, Will just shrugged off the comments and said, "Everybody disses my kids. To me, that's just a part of the business, and somebody's private email is, so I would never hold anyone responsible for something they said in a private email. I shouldn't know about it." But his kids seriously freaked out Sony executives, so you kinda have to own up to that and figure out what's going on with them. Number 6. Too involved with drama. So it seems like whenever something happens in the industry, it seems like the Smith family are the first ones to jump into the drama and uncover what is truly going on by inviting that suspect or person to Jada's Red Table Talk show. Just take a look at Jordyn Woods. After the Kardashians went to war with her after she ruined Khloe's relationship with her baby daddy Tristan Thompson, in an attempt to get in on all the drama, Jada invited Jordyn to the Red Table Talk show to help her state her story, but in the process, all the interview would do was ruin Jordyn's career even more. When Jordyn should have apologized and moved on from the incident, instead she went on Jada's show to air the Kardashians' dirty laundry live with Jada. And as soon as that interview was over, Jordyn became a laughingstock, especially when Khloe came out to name the Instagram influencer as a liar. It just seems like from time to time, the family, especially Jada, takes things a little too far and they forget that they're actors and they're not Jeffree Star.
Number 5. Noel Gallagher. The English singer and songwriter who is a member of the band Oasis has a long history of questioning other artists' musical abilities. But Noel Gallagher made a whole lot of enemies when he decided to trash Harry Styles. In fact, he hated Harry even when he was in One Direction and decided to go on record calling the band members something that rhymes with rock suckers, and said that they would all be in rehab by the time they're 30. Not only that, but he told the Daily Star that X Factor as an institution has nothing to do with music whatsoever, and that performers and bands that came from the show don't work as hard as real musicians. Quote, "You're not telling me that Harry Styles is currently sitting in a room somewhere writing a song. With any joy, he'll be surrounded by a lot of girls. I can assure you he's not got an acoustic guitar out trying to write a middle 8 for something." Noel also claimed that his cat could have written Harry's debut single Sign of the Times in about 10 minutes. The singer has also trashed Little Mix and said that they were not in the same league as his own band, but clearly he doesn't take into account the size of a fan base either. Number 4, Billy Porter. Not everyone was happy to see Harry Styles gracing the cover of Vogue in 2020 while wearing a dress. In fact, actor and director Billy Porter felt that Harry was just copying him. In an interview with the Sunday Times, Porter slammed Harry's gender expression as performative. Quote, "He doesn't care, he's just doing it because it's the thing to do. This is politics for me, this is my life. I had to fight my entire life to get to the place where I could wear a dress to the Oscars. All he had to do is be white and straight." Porter went on to say, "I changed the whole game. I personally changed the whole game. And that is not ego, that is just fact. I was the first one doing it and now everybody's doing it. I created the conversation and yet Vogue still put Harry Styles in a dress on their cover for the first time." It's easy to see where Porter is coming from, considering that yes, he has spent years making waves in the gender-fluid fashion world, and famously arrived at the 2019 Oscars in a Christian Siriano blazer dress, which kind of broke the internet at the time. But he also wasn't the first and only celebrity to ever push the envelope of gender binaries, so Harry shouldn't have been the target of his criticism here. Number 3, Taj Jackson. Michael Jackson's nephew was fuming when Rolling Stone UK tweeted out the cover of their November issue, which featured Harry Styles. The singer was pictured rocking a white fur stole and pink sequin shorts while holding a birthday cake with lit candles, and the title reading, "Harry Styles, How the New King of Pop Set the Music World Aflame." It's safe to say that this didn't go over too well with Taj Jackson, who immediately took to the comments to roast the magazine and demand a different title for Harry. He wrote, "There is no new king of pop. You don't own the title, Rolling Stone, and you didn't earn it. My uncle did. Decades of dedication and sacrifice. The title has been retired." The 49-year-old is the eldest child of Michael Jackson's brother Taito, and although he insisted that he wasn't disrespecting Harry, his 180,000 followers seemed to be out for blood and started joining in on the hate train against him. One user wrote, "Harry is like every other pop star, a Michael Jackson wannabe that will never be anywhere near as good or as talented as the real king of pop." Then Taj doubled down on his feelings and wrote, "There is only one king of pop, and no offense intended to Harry Styles, but he's not in the same league or universe as Michael Jackson." Wow. Number 2, Lucius. The American indie pop band did not hold back at all when they accused Harry Styles of not properly crediting them after they collaborated with the pop star on his 2019 song Treat People with Kindness. In an interview with the LA Times, the two lead vocalists, Jess Wolfe and Holly Lasig, said that Harry asked for their vocals on the song because they were already working on another song together at the time. Quote, "We were like, yeah, of course, it's just oohs and ahs, it's not a big deal, and it's a good opportunity for us. But we started singing and we were singing the whole chorus. 2 weeks later they sent us the track and it was literally us. We started the song, we sing every chorus, just us. We trade off in the bridge, it's us and Harry Styles." The women maintain that Harry didn't even link their band when he put the song on Spotify, which they claimed robbed them of critical exposure that they needed as a relatively unknown band. Quote, "It just hurt. There was an opportunity to spread the love a little bit, which he purports to do all the time, and it could have really helped us." While the situation does sound disheartening, it might not have been something that Harry did knowingly or maliciously. And coming in at number 1, Candace Owens. A lot of people had a lot to say in 2020 when Harry Styles made history as the first male to have a solo cover of Vogue, and just happened to be wearing a dress. To no one's surprise, the controversial conservative commentator did not approve of his clothing choice at all, and so she decided to attack him on Twitter, saying, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men." She caught a lot of backlash for her comments, and people were quick to call her out for being photographed wearing a suit, and flooded her comment section with phrases like, "Bring back feminine women." In response to this, Olivia Wilde called Candace pathetic for basically attacking Harry's gender expression, and conflating wearing a dress with being feminine. Then in response to that tweet, Candace hit back at Olivia, tweeting, "You're single for a reason," referencing her split from longtime partner Jason Sudeikis, which was announced just days earlier. But regardless of how many people stood up for Harry, it's pretty clear that he just doesn't like labels, especially when it comes to gendered fashion. Number 10. Florence Pugh. As we know, the Hollywood it girl appears in Olivia Wilde's new film Don't Worry Darling alongside Harry Styles. However, there was reportedly much tension on the set between the two women. Florence reportedly wasn't too happy seeing her director hooking up with Harry, considering the fact that at the time she was still with Jason Sudeikis, whom she is very good friends with. So it makes sense that she wouldn't be too happy seeing the two of them together when Jason was allegedly oblivious to the affair on set and even brought their two young children to visit their mother. But what was Harry's role in all of this? Well, not a whole lot, but it's pretty apparent that Florence disapproves of his new romance with Olivia Wilde. During the premiere of Don't Worry Darling at the Venice Film Festival, fans noticed that the actress avoided both Harry and Olivia like the plague. She posed for group shots with the entire cast, but did not get any photos alone with Harry, even though they were both central characters and love interests in the film. Florence also was said to have avoided eye contact with both of them throughout the premiere and seemed to leave the event as soon as possible. So with everything that went down, it's highly unlikely they'll be working together again in the future. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9. Shia LaBeouf. The actor was initially cast as Jack in Don't Worry Darling, but in September of 2020, it was announced that he would be replaced by Harry Styles. Olivia then made some very explosive comments alleging that she fired Shia due to a no a-hole policy that she has while directing. She told Variety, "Shia's process was not conducive to the ethos that I demanded my productions. He has a process that, in some ways, seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the production and to the cast to protect them." But Shia was not very happy with this side of the story and decided to publicly expose Olivia. He emailed both the director and Variety to deny that he was fired, instead saying, "You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because your actors and I couldn't find time to rehearse." And he proceeded to leak a video of Olivia begging him to stay in the film. Shia seemed to want to set the record straight, but some fans accused him of being bitter and resentful over the fact that Harry ended up replacing him in the film. It sounds like a bit of a reach, but that could be a possibility. Number 8. Zayn Malik. In a moment of honesty, the 29-year-old opened up to US Weekly and revealed the reality of his relationship with Harry, admitting that the two of them barely spoke while they were in One Direction, let alone since. Zayn said, "To be honest, I never really spoke to Harry even when I was in the band, so I didn't really expect that much of a relationship with him, and I haven't had one." Sometime later, possibly in a response to Zayn's comments, Harry appeared on SNL and dragged Zayn during his opening monologue. He said, "I was in a band called One Direction. How crazy would it be if they were here tonight? I love those guys. They're my brothers. Niall, Liam, Louis, and Ringo." If you didn't catch that, he was implying that Zayn was a less important member of the group, as many Beatles fans see Ringo Starr as the least talented and least interesting person in the band. So what was his reaction? Well, a source close to the star told Hollywood Life that Zayn doesn't care what his former band member does or says, and that he'd rather not see his name in a headline with Harry ever again. But the whole thing was hardly a surprise to fans, given that the two of them weren't exactly best friends. They were more like co-workers. Number 7. Mark Wahlberg. This one was one of the most unlikely celebrity feuds in the history of celebrity feuds. In 2014, Mark Wahlberg appeared on Conan and revealed that his daughter's obsession with One Direction infuriated him, so much so that he threatened to beat Harry Styles up. It's pretty clear that the actor was never a fan of the singer to begin with and told Conan that his two little girls would rather talk about One Direction than their dad's movies. Quote, "My 4-year-old's going, 'Daddy, I like Harry,' and I'm like, well, I'm gonna punch Harry in the nose when I see him. She pulls out pictures of him and she's hiding pictures in the room, and I pretend I'm ripping them up and I get jealous. But if I see that little prick, he's gonna get it." Insinuating that if Harry didn't watch out, he was going to risk getting a black eye or two. Mark also discussed a plan to have One Direction do a song for one of his movies, only to lure them in so that he could basically beat the crap out of them. Quote, "I could say, 'Hey, I really want to meet One Direction, I'm a big fan, maybe you can do the title track for the song,' and then I would beat the crap out of them in a video." Of course, it seemed like he was just messing around or being sarcastic, but it was a little odd how long he kept the joke going. Number 6. Liam Payne. Twitter fans ridiculed Liam for airing the dirty laundry of his former 1D bandmate updates on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast. The 29-year-old reflected on the band's highs and lows, as well as the various feuds within the group and their personal problems in recent years. But fans took particular issue with the fact that he said his 2017 debut solo track, Strip That Down, outsold everyone else in the band. In fact, the whole interview came off as a little bit of a humble brag for Liam, and a lot of people were confused how he seemingly thought that he was the most successful member of the band. Liam also claimed that he was the chosen leader of One Direction, and disputed the notion that Harry was a frontman of the group. He insisted that the band was formed around him as a part of a promise that Simon had made to him 2 years prior. He explained that when he auditioned for X Factor the second time, he was thrown into the group, and Simon promised to make it work for him, and allegedly decided that Liam was to be the band's leader. But fans were very skeptical of the claim, and even Lizzo said, "I don't know who lied to that poor boy, but he was not the frontman." So it looks like the question is still up for debate. Number 5, Sarah Foster. The actress shared a video on TikTok where she slammed both Adam and Sumner for their involvement in the year-long affair. She said, "He's obviously a total pig and gross, but this woman who chose to make a viral TikTok video, not even apologizing, but putting it out there for the world to see, for a pregnant woman to see, when she could have just messaged her privately, claiming it's not her fault or something." She went on to say that we don't feel sorry for you. You knew this man was married and you participated. You could have easily ignored the messages. You knew he was married. We do not feel sorry for you. As women, we need to do better. The married man is being a pig and reaching out to you. You hopefully have been raised well enough to be like, "No, sorry, you're married, I can't engage." This chick is giving women a very bad name. But not a lot of people were happy with her commentary because they felt that she focused too much on Sumner instead of pointing out Adam's wrongs. Number 4, Corey Taylor. When Adam was asked by Variety if he considered Maroon 5 to be a pop, rock, or urban band, he replied, "Something unique to this band is that we have always looked to hip-hop, R&B, all rhythmic forms of music, from back when we were writing our first album to now. Rock music is nowhere really. I don't know where it is. If it's around, no one's invited me to the party. All of the innovation and the incredible things happening in music are in hip-hop. It's better than everything else." But when Slipknot's Corey Taylor caught wind of his comments, the rocker went off on him and tweeted, "Just because you claim to have moves like Jagger doesn't mean you come anywhere close to rocking like Jagger. Tell that schmuck to go back to the effing voice." Adam also divided fans by saying that there are no rock bands anymore and calling them a dying breed, which clearly angered quite a few people. Number 3, Sebastian Bach. The rock legend has been feuding with the Maroon 5 frontman ever since he gave that interview with Variety magazine, where he said, "Rock music is nowhere really. I don't know where it is. If it's around, no one's invited me to the party." Sebastian responded on Twitter saying, "Rock music is nowhere, but when you want your team to win The Voice, you chose the song I Remember You. You're welcome." He also slammed Adam's Super Bowl halftime show performance in 2019, tweeting, "Whatever he was trying to do on stage tonight is way more dead than rock will ever be." The Skid Row singer was not the only one to jump on the hate train. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister wrote, "Hey Adam Levine, I hear you're having a lot of trouble getting hip-hop artists to join you for the Super Bowl. You should reach out to your friends in the rock community." Oh wait, never mind. So clearly no one is going to forget those controversial comments that he made about rock. Number 2, Chrishell Stause. The outspoken actress was less than impressed with the whole Adam Levine scandal. Selling Sunset star Chrishell brilliantly called out the singer for his so-called apology for cheating on his wife Bahati. She tweeted, "When apologizing for cheating publicly, I hate the whole 'we will get through it together' part from a man. Don't speak to her, you've done enough." Most of the Twitter users in her replies agreed and cheered her on for speaking out. However, writer Jimmy Traynor tried to argue that while Adam was guilty of crossing a line, he technically didn't cheat. In response, Rochelle left a series of facepalm and laughing emojis. Unfortunately, the 41-year-old is no stranger to having relationship drama play out in the public eye. In 2019, she was blindsided by then-husband Justin Hartley filing for divorce as he quickly got remarried to Sophia Pernaz. Chrishell implied that this meant that he had been cheating on her throughout their relationship, and that she only found out after the divorce. And coming in at number 1, Blake Shelton. Adam just couldn't resist the urge to take a jab at his former voice coaching rival Blake Shelton on his Instagram story. The Maroon 5 singer decided to address address all sorts of burning questions from fans, including some about his time on The Voice. But soon it became clear that Adam did not exactly have fond memories working with Blake. When one fan asked whether or not he missed him, Adam responded by saying, "Blake who?" And when another fan asked him to name his favorite of Blake's albums, he said, "Who is this Blake you speak of?" The latest example of this conflict came during a Maroon 5 concert last year, as one fan captured the shocking moment that Adam leaned over, directly looked into the camera and said, "Hey Blake, F you, we sold more tickets," and then started to scream as the fans cheered. So it seems like he still has a bit of resentment and rivalry towards his former co-host. So I couldn't imagine that Blake would be jumping at the opportunity to work with him again.
Coming at number 10 today, we have Lea Michele. The star of Glee, Lea Michele, seems to just be obsessed with being a diva like her character was on the show. According to a long list of people who have worked with the actor over the years, they have accused Lea of being a racist, arrogant, spoiled, and hateful. While only rumors have circulated about her demeanor before, Pandora's box would open after Lea made a tweet about her support of Black Lives Matter movement and the George Floyd protest against racism. Samantha Ware, who played Jane Hayward on Glee's final season, called out Michele for her hypocrisy, racism, and aggressive bullying actions after Samantha spoke out. Dozens of co-stars, film crew, and stars flooded social media with stories about the diva. It makes you wonder, even after she was exposed, how she was still able to go on and land the lead role of Funny Girl. Even after former 30 Rock actor Keith Powell accused Lea of being a terrible person, as he witnessed on the background of Glee Lea calling background actors cockroaches, telling multiple crew members how to do their jobs, and even witnessing Lea have a tantrum over something that resulted in her holding up the film schedule for at least an extra hour. Number 9, Jennifer Aniston. It may be surprising that Jennifer Aniston has a bad reputation when it comes to working with other people on set, as she's been painted to look like the all-American nice girl. However, Jennifer Aniston has also garnered a bad reputation for being a bit of a snob with her cast members and crew when she's working on sets. It's said that Jennifer will refuse to eat with the other cast members, and she demands that her trailer is to be placed further away from everyone else, and she purposely avoids talking to her co-stars and cast members, her co-stars and crew members, unless she absolutely has to. Besides that, Jennifer has also been accused of being more concerned about her appearance more than she is about reality. She only got the best when she redecorated her Bel Air mansion, dresses, and she even stylized her ex-husband Justin when they were still together. It's also been said that she will turn down a role if she doesn't deem it as a powerful, classy, and sophisticated role. But I mean, do we really blame her, because she worked really hard to get to where she is today, and she's allowed to be picky when it comes to her well-being and image. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez has been accused of having a list of demands every time she works on an event or a film set. When she was running for the opening ceremonies of India's Premier League cricket tournament, what may have seemed like a massive opportunity would soon evaporate when the organizers received Jennifer's list of demands. Among the big asks that repeatedly came through from her manager was a private plane, a host of hotel rooms for her entourage, stylist, and handlers. Also, when she was set to perform at the 2010 World Video Music Awards, she reportedly insisted on a custom-fitted speedboat and requested a pair of diamond-encrusted headphones and a helicopter to be on standby. By 2012, it's also been reported that the singer and actress even banned staff that were working on her new home from speaking to her or even making eye contact with her. Not to mention, there has also been some sets that accused Jennifer of manipulating the cast and crew members. Number 7, Christian Bale. Christian Bale is seen as a bit off-putting by many of his fellow actors for a couple of reasons. One is that he is a fairly angry person who takes things a bit too seriously at times. Another is he tends to be fascinated by real-world violence and sees it as a means of making the world work. Back in 2009, an audio recording would be leaked to the media, and it would start to make headlines as it would show Christian Bale's infamous outburst towards cinematographer Shane Hurlbut on the set of the Terminator Salvation. In the audio, Christian could be heard yelling at Shane when he said, "You do it one more effing time and I ain't walking on the set if you're still hired. You're a nice guy, but that doesn't effing cut it. After the audio clip was released, Christian would later apologize for his outburst during an interview on Kevin and Bean's radio show on KROQ, where he would say, "I was out of order beyond belief. I was way out of order and I acted like a punk. I regret that." It's clear that Christian has a reputation of not being one to cross, joke with, or get too close with because you never know how he will truly react. Number 6, Edward Norton. Edward Norton is infamous for trying to rewrite the script of almost every movie he is a part of. Even Edward tried to make an attempt to rewrite the script of Red Dragon in the middle of the filming. He would then battle with Marvel over his Incredible Hulk breweries, and the director of American History X still curses Edward's name for ruining the film with his rewrites of the script. Edward made a relatively rare televised appearance in the summer of 2018, showing up for the taping of the Comedy Central roast of Bruce Willis. As one does at a roast, Edward took some pretty harsh jabs at Bruce Willis when he said things like, "I tried to mutilate you in American History X, I shaved my head, I acted like a racist, it's probably the closest any actor has come to being you in a film, and I got nominated for a Best Actor Oscar." But much of Edward's routine was just a setup to throw one final insult at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and people who make the movies when he said, "I tried to be like you, I did a big action movie called The Incredible Hulk. You know what went wrong? I wanted a better script. Thought we should make one Marvel movie that was good as the worst Chris Nolan movie. But what the hell was I thinking?" Number 5, Ariana Grande. Now, I know you're probably saying there's no way Ariana Grande is mean, as she always appears to be this super sweet girl, but trust me when I say it's honestly all just a facade. There have been dozens of stories floating around Hollywood for the last decade that surround the star's poor behavior. Today, Ariana is mostly known for often blocking her fans on Twitter when they express a less than flattering opinion about her on her music, despite being all about having the freedom to say what you want to say. She also left Mac Miller when he was going through a tough time and struggling with substances and abuse and issues, but then came out to support Demi Lovato when it suited her narrative. There's also been a story about a man named Dan O'Connor who won a competition to meet Ariana. Dan would bring his daughters along, who were obviously really excited to meet the star, and after a long day of waiting for her, when Ariana finally met with them, she reportedly only spent 15 seconds with them, took a photo, and demanded that they delete the photo. If that doesn't scream diva-like behavior, she also licked donuts in a donut shop she didn't pay for, and just continues to display this really odd behavior. Number 4, Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera has a beautiful voice, but a bad reputation. Since 2008, she's been in a pretty long feud with Lady Gaga, which started in 2008 when she was accused of stealing Gaga's look when promoting Bionic. And in her response to the issue wasn't really the best. Christina would end up telling Los Angeles Times, "You know, that's funny that you mentioned that. This person, Lady Gaga, was just brought to my attention not too long ago. I'm not quite sure who this person is, to be honest. I don't know if it is a man or a woman. I wasn't sure. I really don't spend my time on the internet, so I guess I just live under a rock in that respect." While the duo would put their feud behind them and do a remix to Gaga's Do What You Want together, it's just been said that working with Christina isn't exactly a treat, with multiple sources claiming that working with Christina is already difficult enough. Apparently working for the star is even worse. Insiders even told OK Magazine that her constant diva demands have led to most of her staff to throw in the towel and seek employment elsewhere. A source would then tell the tabloids that Christina is incredibly rude and demanding, and she treats her household staff terribly, insisting that they be on call 24/7, and that she'll even call staff on the other side of the house to grab a towel that is just mere feet away from her. Number 3, John Mayer. Over the course of 2 decades, John Mayer has sold more than 20 million records, earning him multiple Grammys, and he's even traveled the world with top grossing tours. And yet, despite all of his success, people still don't like the man. While he may be extremely talented, that hasn't stopped him from displaying some pretty rude behavior. Over the years, the man has been responsible for Your Body is a Wonderland, has had a history of bad behavior that has stemmed from being misogynistic and racist, and while John regularly tends to make sexist and racist comments through his career, he has also gone on to say some some pretty hurtful things about his ex-girlfriends, and he has somehow, despite all of his problematic behavior, managed to continue to have a very successful career without being cancelled. And it seems like as long as you're good looking and you can sell a handful of records and make a lot of money, you can get away with anything in the music industry. However, when John did Jennifer Aniston dirty in 2008, after he confessed that he broke up with her because he didn't want to waste his time with somebody that wasn't right for him, he came off as a total jerk who was only interested in taking credit for the breakup, and Jennifer didn't deserve that. Number 2, Kanye West. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's divorce was messy to say at least, but the drama between the former couple just continues to escalate due to Kanye's increasingly alarming behavior, which stems from accusations that Kim was withholding her children from him and over the fact that she was dating Pete Davidson for a bit. Kanye has continued to head to his social media accounts to express his anger and frustrations while making an attempt to bully Kim in front of the world. Kanye's social media presence is a constant target to Kim and her former partner Pete Davidson. Kanye has been creating a dangerous and scary environment, and while he does seem to come out to take accountability for some of his actions, he just jumps right back into his old ways and creates more damage. It seems like anything pertaining to Kim and Kanye keeps making headlines as Kanye keeps engaging in the idea that it's okay to harass his estranged wife and that his behavior is justifiable because he's just protecting himself. While Kanye is struggling with his own mental health, his constant attacks on his ex-wife are hurtful and causing further pain to their family. While a lot of Kanye's fans continue to see there's nothing wrong with his actions, he has continued to act out in problematic ways, and his actions are just so unjustifiable at this point. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is constantly being criticized for his rude behavior, as the Peaches singer has been a part of several controversies, especially when he was younger, with rumors stating that he cheated on Selena Gomez, he has a habit of spitting on fans, or getting arrested for driving under the influence. He has faced massive backlash every single time. While the star has definitely grown a lot since getting married to Hailey Bieber, in 2018 he would find himself getting called out again, and this time by famous singer and dancer JoJo Siwa, after she claimed that Justin was rude to her in a TikTok video. When JoJo bought a custom BMW 4 years ago, Justin Bieber would comment on the photo and tell JoJo to burn it. JoJo would then take a screenshot of the comment and say, "POV, you're Justin Bieber when I got my first car." The audio in the back of the video also played the lyrics that said, "Did I say stand there and look stupid? No, I said burn it." This audio was made for me. Though Justin tweeted about the same video in 2018 as well and said it wasn't malicious or mean-spirited, JoJo still decided to call him out and name him as one of the meanest celebrities she has ever met.
Number 10, Mark Wahlberg. In 2013, a series of leaked court documents suggested that Tom Cruise had compared working on a film to being as intense as fighting in Afghanistan. It's safe to say that this statement did not go down well with Mark Wahlberg. Later down the line, while he was promoting his film Lone Survivor, which was based on actual events of the failed 2005 mission Operation Red Wings, where Mark played the role of a Navy SEAL. When asked about the difficulty of shooting the film, he went on an angry rant. Quote, "For actors to sit there and talk about, oh, I went to SEAL training and I slept on the floor. I don't give an F what you did. You don't do what these guys did. For somebody to sit there and say, my job was as difficult as somebody in the military's, how effing dare you, while you sit in a makeup chair for 2 hours. He added that at the end of the day, actors get to go home, go to their hotel room and order effing chicken. Tom's lawyers then jumped in very quickly and claimed that the actor was only joking, and in fact is a staunch supporter of the troops, but the tension was very clearly real. Number 9, Thandie Newton. When speaking with Vulture, Newton revealed exactly why working with Tom Cruise on the 2000 film Mission Impossible was a total nightmare. When asked why she never filmed another movie in the franchise, the actress said, "Oh, I was never asked. I was so scared of Tom. He was a very dominant individual. He tries super hard to be a nice person." She described him as really stressed and dominant, recounting an incident on set in which she and Cruise attempted to finish a night scene on the balcony. Quote, "I don't think it was a very well written scene. I get angry with him, we're frustrated at each other, and Tom made a decision at the very beginning of the movie, unbeknownst certainly to me, that he didn't speak English, which I think was very helpful to him, but it was extremely unhelpful to the rest of us." Thandie went on to say that Tom got so frustrated with her performance that it just pushed her further into a place of terror and insecurity. But despite everything Everything Thandie insisted that she doesn't think poorly of Tom as a person. Quote, he wasn't horrible, it was just that he was really stressed. But the pressure, he takes on a lot. I think he has this sense that only he can do everything as best as it can be done. Number 8. Brooke Shields. Telling women what they can and can't wear is one way to make yourself extremely unpopular among the female demographic, but telling them how to give birth is a different kind of insult entirely. Just ask Brooke Shields after she had to deal with public shaming from Tom Cruise, who went on the record criticizing her decision to use antidepressants to help her with postpartum depression. Quote, when someone says medication has helped them, it is to cope. It didn't cure anything. There is no science. There is nothing that can cure them whatsoever. And if that wasn't condescending enough for you, he added, I care about Brooke Shields because I think she's an incredibly talented woman, but look at where her career has gone. But Brooke was not having it and took the opportunity to stand up for herself and new mothers everywhere. She said, Tom should stick to saving the world from aliens and let women who are experiencing postpartum depression decide what treatment options are best for them. Adding that, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that Mr. Cruise has never suffered from postpartum depression. She called his comments a disservice to mothers everywhere and said that if any good can come of Mr. Cruise's ridiculous rants, let's hope that it gives much needed attention to a serious disease. Number 7. Brad Pitt. Although the two A-list actors have a lot in common, especially when it comes to their careers, they allegedly couldn't be more at odds with each other. In fact, rumors have it that they have been feuding for 25 years, and it all started with one movie, 1994's Interview with a Vampire. The hit horror film where both actors had starring roles really ignited their resentment for one another. And even though the film was nominated for an Oscar and a Golden Globe upon its release, Brad said that he was miserable on set and that Tom being there certainly didn't help. And when asked about his co-star in an interview, Brad did not bother to hold back his feelings at all. Quote, he bugged me. There came a point during filming when I started really resenting him. He's North Pole, I'm South. He's always coming at you with a handshake, whereas I may bump into you. There was this underlying competition that got in the way of any real conversation. Fast forward to 2009, when both actors were starring in World War II dramas, Brad in Inglourious Basterds and Tom in Valkyrie. Not only was Brad's film way better received, but to add insult to injury, he reportedly called Tom's film a ridiculous movie. Number 6. Nicole Kidman. Although it's been over for decades, Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise is still one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. But at the time of meeting, he was still married to Mimi Rogers. Tom eventually divorced his first wife in February of 1990, and less than 1 year later, he exchanged vows with Nicole. They even adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane and Connor Anthony, and eventually went on to make 2 more movies together as a couple. But as we all know, their marriage was far from perfect, and they ended up splitting up a decade later in 2001. Looking back on the divorce, Nicole said, quote, I was so young when I got married. I look back now and I'm like, what? She told Red Magazine that she felt isolated during her marriage, and even when she won an Oscar, she described it as, I was holding a gold statue and I was the loneliest I'd ever been. The divorce took Nicole by surprise, and it got very messy very quickly with the custody battle. In the end, Tom allegedly turned her children against her, as he was granted full custody of their kids, and ended up raising both of them to be Scientologists. But despite all the heartbreak, nothing beats that iconic photo of Nicole leaving her attorney's office, jumping for joy after their divorce was finalized.
At number 5, Chris Brown. Chris Brown used to be a heartthrob that stole our hearts. However, for more than a decade, Brown has repeatedly been accused of treating women poorly, making it really hard for any of us to support the guy. The most high-profile incident involves his former girlfriend Rihanna. When news broke about the way he treated her, we were all left heartbroken to see the images that TMZ leaked of her face. Following the incident, Chris Brown just seemed to get more aggressive, and multiple women would go on to file restraining orders and even call police on the star. The fact that Chris Brown still even had a career after what he did to Rihanna had us all shook. However, his controversial actions have made it pretty hard for any of us to support him, and there's a reason why a lot of us can't even listen to his songs anymore. And number 4, Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton and her family used to be the Kardashians of Hollywood. However, the blonde heiress quickly went from being someone we all wanted to be being someone we all wanted to forget. The reason many people seem to hate the star is because over the last decade, she has been marketed as a spoiled rich girl by the media and doesn't even seem to notice. she hasn't really been working, and she's been using her connections to live out this teenage dream even though she's no longer a teenager. If she would just live a quiet life and be unproblematic, people might actually start to like her again. She keeps trying to ruin people's dreams and hopes by incorporating the idea that if you want to make it, you need to have rich parents, which isn't true at all. She's made it pretty hard to actually support her, and her image not only hurts herself, but it hurts her family as well. At number 3, Nicki Minaj. Okay, we all used to be huge Nicki Minaj fans because she made all of our Barbie dreams come true. Being one of the most successful female rappers, we all used to sit in our basements and scream out her lyrics, especially when it came to her song Super Bass. However, over the last decade, the star has been pretty problematic, and it really made us question her true motives. It seems like if you're a rapper entering into the industry under Nicki, you better watch out, because it seems like she comes for everyone in an attempt to block them from reaching the top. Just take her feud with Cardi B for an example. These two women had the chance to become a powerful duo, however, Nicki felt threatened that another female was climbing the ranks faster than she ever could, and she decided to come for Cardi in a chance to snub her rise. Who can forget the time Cardi threw her shoe at Minaj? It was just one of those moments we knew that we could no longer trust the rapper, as she was no longer real, and she proved that she was really unsupportive towards other females entering into the industry, which was really sad to see. And number 2, Rebecca Black. Rebecca Black was cute until she released her single Friday in 2011. After that, we all started to dislike her for having the most horrendous song stuck in our heads. I swear, even to this day, when I hear the word Friday, all my brain can think of it's Friday, I'm gonna get down on a Friday. And if you haven't heard the song, take my advice, don't, as you just might not like Fridays anymore. After Friday was released, it was quickly dubbed as the world's worst song. Now, Rebecca's video would rack up millions of views, but the reviews were mainly negative, with hundreds of thousands of negative comments. Rebecca would even try to go on to resume her career, but she could never leave Friday behind, which caused her to disappear from the industry completely. And at number 1 today, we have Kristen Stewart. For many years, we all admired Kristen Stewart until she became labeled as problematic and accused of wheeling out some pretty bad behavior in a bid to score attention in headlines. Many people actually started to hate on Kristen Stewart because of her role in the movie franchise Twilight. When many people started to label her as a bad actress, many people forgot to realize that her character in the movie was actually just planned badly, and that throughout her entire career in Hollywood, she has proven to be an extremely talented actress. When Kristen was caught cheating on Robert Pattinson, many fans would come for the star as they felt betrayed that she could do something so horrible to someone so beautiful. The media also has a tendency to go with any story they have on her, and some articles have even had her fans divided on whether they should love her or hate her.
And at number 10, Oprah. This is one that was incredibly shocking to me because Oprah is one of the most beloved people in the world, and other celebrities are constantly singing her praises, sharing how down-to-earth and nice Oprah is in real life. But it seems that Oprah might act a little differently when the cameras are not rolling, or when she's not talking to another celebrity. A waiter that served Oprah for lunch shared their eye-rolling encounter with the TV host. They wrote on Reddit, quote, "Oprah didn't tip me on a $200 lunch. Instead, she signed a napkin for me and acted like she was doing me a huge favor. The kicker was when she walked in, they gave away all of my other tables so she didn't have to wait for anything. So I made $4 an hour for 2 hours for the privilege of serving Oprah." And she went on and on about signing a napkin that I never even asked for. It still makes me so mad when I hear that celebrities do not tip. Like, Oprah is a billionaire. She can afford to tip. It's so outrageous. And at number 9, Chevy Chase. This one is less of a shock because it's well known that Chevy Chase is not the greatest guy, although he plays lovable characters on screen. Many of his former SNL castmates have spoken out against him, and he was even banned from the show for his problematic behavior. One Reddit user shared that he is just as awful in real life. They wrote, quote, "I saw Chevy Chase at a hotel once as a small 9-year-old, and I loved the National Lampoon's Vacation movies. When I asked for his autograph, he verbally went off on me. When my dad came over, he went off on him. He said something messed up, which is that my dad wasn't raising me right. The dude is a straight up jerk." And at number 8, Randy Jackson. Randy Jackson is another star I only ever heard good things about. He was known for being the good guy on American Idol compared to Simon Cowell, who was notoriously savage towards contestants. But this might be another case of a celebrity being completely two-faced, acting nice and friendly while on camera, but being completely different when cameras are not rolling. One Reddit user shared a behind-the-scenes look at Randy during a children's hospital event. Quote, "Randy Jackson was invited to a telethon hosted by a hospital for children with disabilities, where my little sister lived until she she passed away. Whenever the cameras were off, he'd hide in his hotel room and seem disgusted with the kids. He didn't want anything to do with them. When the cameras were on though, he was all smiles and hugs. It was so disheartening and disappointing to witness. It was over 10 years ago and I still remember it to this day. And at number 7, Carrie Underwood. This one honestly breaks my heart. This person who has seen a ton of celebrities in their workplace said that Carrie Underwood was by far the worst. They wrote, quote, "I worked as a maintenance worker at a concert venue for a few summers and I bumped into several celebrities. But Carrie Underwood is the one who sticks out because of how demanding she always was. She refused to use a toilet if someone else had sat on the seat before her, so we had to buy new toilet seats every time she came. Considering how much we already had to fix, the last thing we wanted to do was pointlessly replace perfectly good toilet seats. In contrast, Reba McEntire would always eat lunch with the staff and was always super chill." Can you imagine how entitled you have to be to demand like a new toilet basically? I cannot believe the venue agreed to do that for her. And at number 6, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is a famous actor and producer that fans might not know that much about. However, many celebrities have shared just how open-hearted and kind that he is. Specifically, when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey after leaving the royals, they shared that they were on the verge of being homeless with no security. However, Tyler Perry offered them his LA home to live in, along with giving them security until they were able to work it out. What an amazing guy, right? Well, apparently he doesn't treat normal people as nice. A person who worked to promote Perry's movie Boo! A Madea Halloween in 2016 shared his strange behavior and long list of demands. Apparently Perry flew private to the event with 13 of his staff. They were all forced in the back of the plane while he had the entire front to himself. They added, quote, "His team sent our local agency a long list of demands and rules in anticipation of his arrival. Tyler wanted to be addressed referred to as Mr. Perry. We were prohibited to speak to him directly, only to his team. Room temperature orange Gatorade had to be in his green room. Furniture wasn't allowed in his press interview suite. All media and press had to travel to him. Mr. Perry would not leave the hotel, and he wouldn't wait for anyone." The person added that his entire team seemed terrified of him.
Number 5, Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence has been considered by many to be Hollywood's quirky it girl, as she is always one to speak her mind. She tends to fall in public, and she's generally viewed as being super relatable by her fans. But is this Oscar-winning starlet taking her fame for granted? When Jennifer sat down for an interview with Adam Sandler in 2017, the variety actor, on the Actor series, the two would discuss the negative aspects fans have and that sometimes they just don't understand what it means by respecting someone's personal space. Jennifer would go on to say, "Once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge a-hole." She would then go on to explain that she does this so she can defend herself because when her fans ask her to take a selfie, she just finds the whole moment super icky. While Adam, on the other hand, went on to make this really awkward laugh at the remark. He would then try to offer his own 2 cents to the young starlet. He said, "I don't shut them down. My new move has been, it works alright when it's an older guy. I say, you don't want that man." Nonetheless, the damage was already seemingly done, as her explanation didn't quite rub well on many of her fans. I mean, considering these are the people that put money in your pocket, maybe just politely decline the photo and opt to get to know them instead, because a lot of your fans are actually the people who inspire to be you one day. And number 4, Chevy Chase. Now, Pete Davidson has had his fair share of celebrity feuds, and one of his sparring partners is no stranger to controversy. Another former Saturday Night Live star, Chevy Chase, wasn't a fan of the show's 2018 cast, as he told the Washington Post, "I'm amazed that Lauren has gone so low. How could you dare give that generation worse stuff than they already have in their lives? It drives me nuts." Davidson didn't take this too kindly, and he would respond by telling Howard Stern that he hated Chevy Chase because he is generally a bad person, a racist, and he simply just didn't like him. In the true Chevy fashion, the comedy star would then tell CBS Sunday Morning with a laugh in February 2022 saying, "You know who I am, and I like who I am, and it's a part of me and I don't care. Thought about that a lot, and I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't care." Chase, of course, has also been accused of controversial behavior on set with his former Community co-star Donald Glover, allegedly being the target of racist jokes. As the show creator Dan Harmon told The New Yorker in 2018, for his part, Glover said, "I just saw Chevy as fighting time. A true artist has to be okay with his reign being over. But I know there's a human in there somewhere." Number 3, Mariah Carey. Now, lots of celebrities have been accused of diva behavior, and some have even owned it. but perhaps few have been called a diva as many times as Mariah Carey has. It's no lie that Mariah is incredibly talented, however, she isn't everybody's favorite cup of tea. Just ask fellow singer Demi Lovato. Back in 2016, the former Disney Channel star made her feelings about Mariah perfectly clear by saying, "The woman is mean for no reason. Extremely talented, yes. Superhuman? Possibly. Unnecessarily rude? Absolutely." While the star would go on to post this as a comment on a since deleted Instagram post, her comment would come on the heels of another removed post of Mariah in which the "Always Be My Baby" hitmaker seemed to diss Ariana Grande. As well, Mariah infamously continued the "I don't know" comments regarding Jennifer Lopez. Now, it's not hard to imagine that Jennifer, Demi, and Mariah won't be getting together anytime soon, but whatever distaste Mariah had or did have for Ariana must have dissipated, as in 2020, the two alongside of Jennifer Hudson collaborated on Mariah's Christmas track "Oh Santa," and Grande would even join Mariah at the end to harmonize with the latter's signature whistle tone runs. However, while we all imagine Mariah to be so over the top, none of us really expected her to be this mega diva with no control, and it was pretty disappointing to see. Number 2, Jennifer Lopez. Rosie Perez and Jennifer Lopez worked together on Living Color in the early 90s. Perez was the choreographer for the sketch comedy show and even fought for Jennifer, who appeared in over 60 episodes to get her big break as a fly girl. In her 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, Perez would claim that the Waiting for Tonight hitmaker on-set behavior was inappropriate. All of the girls were coming into her office and complaining about how Jennifer was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and Rosie to her advantage. Rosie would then claim that when she addressed the issues, Jennifer responded by screaming and pounding her chest. Unfortunately, their apparent feud heated up following Jennifer's exit from the show, with Rosie accusing her of acting fake and friendly. Rosie would also go on to say, "I was blindsided. I thought we were cool. I called her up and she wouldn't pick up." Shortly after Jennifer ended up ghosting her, Rosie would run into her at a club, and instead of remaining cool, she went in with her biting tongue and gave Jennifer a piece of her mind. On the positive side, it does seem like Rosie doesn't hold anything ill will towards Jennifer these days. As she's even said, "I don't hate Jennifer Lopez. I had great respect for her. Yes, we had a tiff and it was 20 years ago, and I write in my book, I've moved on. And I'm sure she has also. However, who knew Jennifer was actually so hard to work with on set? And it's actually pretty surprising to hear." And coming in at number 1 today, we have Tommy Lee Jones. Oscar winner Tommy Lee Jones is apparently not a fan of Jim Carrey. The two worked together on Batman Forever back in the 90s, and as Carrey recounted on Normal McDonald Live in 2017, Jones didn't mince words when it came to his lack of fondness with his comedic co-star. After Carrey spotted him having dinner at the same restaurant as him, Carrey would end up going over and saying, "Hey Tommy, how you doing?" And Tommy's face would go white and he would start shaking, and it was at this moment Jim knew that he was about to have a pretty unpleasant interaction with the Men in Black actor. Jim would say, "And he went in to hug me and he said, 'I hate you. I really don't like you.'" While Jim went to find out what the problem was, he pulled up a chair, and that probably wasn't the best move to do, but he just wanted to talk things out, and Tommy said, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery." Now, Jim kept a mostly good attitude about the incident, summarizing, "I was the star and that was the problem. He's a phenomenal actor though, I still love him." Some have since defended Tommy's apparent attitude, however, as pal Richard Jones once told Texas Monthly that, "You need to remember, Tommy's got a lot of cowboy in him. He's got a cowboy spectism about people he doesn't know." For me personally, I don't know who I'm more disappointed in, Tom for not giving Jim a chance, or Jim who aired their dirty laundry out for everyone to hear.
Number 10, Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie was the Harley Quinn to Leto's Mr. J back in the Suicide Squad days, but they most definitely were not as close off screen as they were on screen. A lot of people believe that he took his role as the Joker way too far. Being the first Joker since Heath Ledger, he had massive shoes to fill, and that may have gotten to his head a little bit. I don't know. Although he is known as a method actor, wherein he extends a personification of his character beyond the screen and into real life, he ended up doing some pretty harmful stuff to his co-star Margot Robbie. In fact, he sent the actor a live rat to her on set, apparently in an effort to better personify the Joker. There's absolutely no way she was happy about that, given she's an extremely professional actor and also who likes getting gifted a rat. Number 9, Will Smith. Will Smith is another Suicide Squad co-star who got caught in the craziness of the Jared Leto Joker personification. In fact, he may have gotten it worse. worse because he was gifted, along with a few others, a dead pig. You heard me right, Will Smith, the A-list actor, got gifted a dead pig. I guess he was trying to make people feel unsettled and uncomfortable with him as a person in hopes that it would translate to how they interacted with the Joker while on screen, but all it did was backfire on Jared Leto. Although he was featured very heavily in the trailer for the movie due to his insane antics, his screen time was cut all the way down to 10 minutes and he was barely featured at all when the movie finally came out. Will Smith also gave comment to Margot receiving her gift of the rat. When he first met Jared, he said, quote, "This dude walks in and says, 'I got a message from Mr. J,' and he puts a box down in front of Margot, being like, 'This is a gift from Mr. J in honor of your relationship.' Margot starts to open the box and there's a note from the Joker. And I was like, that's cool, that's funny. Jared is like taking it real serious. And Margot opened the box and there was a live rat in the box. I was playing Deadshot, but if I had pearls on, I would have clutched them." He even showed his own personal distaste for the character with, quote, "We all shared some really deep stories about ourselves and our pains and our triumphs. And then on set, you thought he was being a nice guy and you were trying to share your life. And then in the middle of a scene, he throws your childhood trauma back at you and says, 'Dude, the Joker did it.'" Number 8, Robert Pattinson. Although he didn't name Jared Leto specifically, it is pretty obvious who Robert Pattinson was shading during an interview, and that was none other than Jared Leto. While discussing how he got into the headspace to film The Lighthouse, a psychological thriller, he said he would be exhausted leaving the set. This was all during the time of people criticizing Jared Leto, so it seemed really pointed when Pattinson said, quote, "I always say about people who do method acting, you only ever see people do the method when they're playing assholes. You never see someone being lovely to everyone while they're really deep in character." Number 7, Taylor Swift. There's no way that Taylor Swift's army took kindly to Jared Leto dissing their beloved singer. TMZ released a video of the Oscar winner critiquing the young singer's music. In the clip, Leto and his 30 Seconds to Mars bandmates listened to tracks from Taylor's album 1989. After playing some of her songs, the actor quickly became disenchanted by her and really aggressive. He exclaims, quote, "Fuck her, I don't give a fuck about her." Although Taylor Swift never commented on the anger directed at her, her fans sure did. Jared immediately got pummeled online, and in an extremely rare response to criticism, Jared tweeted out, quote, "The truth is, I think Taylor Swift is amazing and an incredible example of what's possible. If I hurt her or her fans, my sincerest apologies." I don't know, man, or you can just not be mean for no reason. Number 6, Cara Delevingne. Cara Delevingne is another Jared Leto victim from her time on Suicide Squad. Playing the baddie of the movie Enchantress, she almost did a better job of playing a villain than he did. But Jared's weirdo method acting behavior waits for no man, and so as a wrap party gift, he gave Cara used condoms and toys meant for, you know, intimacy. She did not take too kindly to the gifts, obviously, especially because Cara had a rumored fling with Jared 4 years prior to the release of their movie together.
Number 5, Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson's beef with Madonna all started after Madonna attempted to date Michael Jackson in the early 90s. Jermaine Jackson wrote in his book, "You are not alone, Michael, through a brother's eyes." And he thought Madonna sincerely adored Michael, but it wasn't a mutual feeling. And she committed 2 cardinal sins. The first was she was hell-bent on loosening him up and getting him to see life through her eyes. The second mistake was when Michael went out for dinner with her one night. Madonna tried to criticize Janet, and Michael was furious and the two never went on a date again. In 1994, Janet would tell Vibe, "I never said hate. Hate is a strong word, but if I did hate Madonna, I'd have a valid reason." After that interview was published, Madonna told VJ Kurt Lauder that Janet dissed her and she didn't know why, and when she read it herself, she was like, "Okay, this sounds ominous. What did I do? I've never met the woman. I don't know anyone she knows. I'm mystified." Later, when Janet was asked about going head to head with Madonna, Janet would reply by saying, how do I put this? I think what I do has class to it. I'll say that. In 2012, it would then seem to be Madonna who was igniting the fire during the Super Bowl halftime show press tour. She would snidely address Jackson's nipplegate by saying, "You don't have to show nipples to be interesting. It doesn't necessarily mean you're cutting edge if you do, right?" Number 4, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow and Madonna were best friends for years, but they reportedly had a falling out when Madonna divorced Guy Ritchie in 2008. Sources would start to claim that the ladies just have less and less in common, but then Gwyneth would hint that there was far more to the story. Gwyneth would reportedly tell Vogue, "I can be mean, I can cave into gossip, I can ice people out, and I can definitely harbor revenge. In fact, I'm having a situation right now with a friend where I'm feeling pretty angry, but revenge is corrosive and doesn't make me feel good." Gwyneth would then reference her longtime personal trainer, Tracy Anderson, by saying, "It's good that Anderson doesn't train Madonna anymore. It was too much. She keeps people waiting. It takes up your whole day." The source would then tell US Weekly that the beef started when Madonna mistreated Gwyneth, when they said Madonna would defecate on her over and over again after Gwyneth dropped her. Madonna feels Gwyneth abandoned her, and now Madonna will do pretty much anything to make her suffer. Number 3, Deadmau5. In fairness to Madonna, it seems like Deadmau5 has had beef with about every artist on the planet. However, that being said, when the DJ and producer took Madonna to task in 2012 for comments she made about substances in relation to Ultra Music Festival, when introducing DJ Avicii at the festival, Madonna would ask the crowd, "How many people in this crowd have seen Molly?" Deadmau5 was furious, tweeting, "Very classy there, Madonna. Such a great message for the young music lovers at Ultra. Cue the effing philanthropist. But hey, at least you're hip and trendy. Effing can't smack my head hard enough right now. I can appreciate her mediocre career and all good deed done. But what the F is that? That's your big contribution to EDM? That's your big message to Ultra attendees? Hipsters speak for looking for substances. F off, effing idiot, F." Madonna would never respond to his comments, but she did try to awkwardly hug him at the 2015 title launch. Number 2, Sandra Bernhard. In the early 90s, comedian Bernhard was one of Madonna's best pals. They even appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman together. Then, all of a sudden, something definitely changed. While neither Sandra nor Madonna have stated what actually happened between them, Sandra has been pretty vocal about her distaste for Madonna as a person. While Sandra does respect Madonna as an artist, she just finds Madonna in general just a little trashy. Sandra once told Dot 429 that, "We were friends, we don't speak anymore, I have kept my friends my whole life," but Madonna feels differently when addressing Madonna's younger boyfriend. Sandra would also say, "I'm not sure how involved she is with these young boys, she has 4 kids at home." At number 1 today we have Arsenio Hall. When Madonna appeared on the Arsenio Hall show in 1990 to promote Dick Tracy, she made the comedian feel exceedingly uncomfortable by bringing up his ex-girlfriend Paula Abdul and Abdul's rumored new flame, John Stamos. She would even proceed to get on Hall's nerves by saying, "Are you jealous of John Stamos? I want to know how it feels to be dumped for John Stamos." She then offered Hall a gold ring before saying, "Because I feel bad for you." Paul laughed it off before adding, "For those of you who don't know, there was rumors that Paula Abdul and I were dating, and then I guess Paula showed up at the Grammys with John Stamos, and it was a full house. I couldn't go." Madonna then proceeded to go on by saying Paula wanted someone who was home more often. Hall then kept his cool, but lamented, "Wow, you're telling all my business?" Madonna would go on to defend her move by saying, "I know you were heading in the direction of getting into my intimate life, so I thought I'd turn it around." They would eventually change the subject, but the tension between the two would remain for the rest of the episode, and Madonna would proceed to call Hall's hairstyle tired and suggested he and best friend Eddie Murphy were more than friends. On the bright side of Hall, Entertainment Weekly reported it was the show's highest rated episode ever. Coming in number 10, we have Mariah Carey. Now, it's been said that even though Mariah Carey may not have been a super mean girl, she was definitely one of those popular girls that got on everyone's nerves. While Mariah had little to no respect for the school system at all, I'm pretty sure none of us were really shocked when the diva let us all know that she was actually a mean girl in high school. While in high school, Mariah would explain that she was given the nickname of Mirage because she barely appeared in class, as she described herself as being more of a socialized person in school rather than an actual student. Later on in an interview, TMZ would even ask the Obsessed With Me singer if she would be attending her high school reunion when the time came around, and you could tell Mariah definitely wasn't impressed with the question and that she clearly had some major hate towards her former high school, because she would reply by saying, "Why would I go to anything I didn't create myself?" Mariah's comment actually ended up being the perfect diva response, and honestly I'm gonna use it when my high school reunion comes around because I definitely don't want to see anyone from there ever again. Coming in at number 9, Cameron Diaz. So today Cameron Diaz may seem like a ray of sunshine now who's all holistic and healthy living, but back in high school she was described as being pretty feisty when it came to interacting with her classmates. Now the star has admitted that she had it pretty rough and she had to become a fighter just to get by. Cameron would say, "Anytime you heard the locker slam and you turned and there was a girl taking off her earrings, she was pulling her hair back in a ponytail and she was taking all of her friends' rings and coming at you like this. I used to get in fights with boys more than girls. For some reason, boys like to fight me, but one time in junior high I had this girl come up to me in the locker room from behind and she pulled my hair back." I had to shut her down. It's not hard to believe that Cameron was so feisty, as I mean. The girl once quoted her father by saying, "My dad always used to tell me, if they challenge you to an after-school fight, tell them you won't wait, you can kick their butts right now." Just taking one look at Cameron, I don't know why anyone would be brave enough to challenge her, as she looks like the type of person that would need like 8 people to tear her away from you before she did some critical damage. But if you have the guts to do it, it makes me wonder what the people in her school look like. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Tina Fey. Step away, Regina George, there's another mean girl in town. Mean Girls creator Tina Fey once shared her grand revelation, as she would reveal that when she was in high school, she was actually the mean girl. Which isn't really shocking, as she is the reason behind the iconic film Mean Girls. While Tina has admitted to it openly, she has also said that it was a disease that had to be conquered. It's a bad coping mechanism, but when you feel less than in high school, everyone feels less than everyone for different reasons. In your mind, it's a way of leveling the playing field though. Of course, it's not. Now, the mother of 2 is cautious to those who may mimic her behavior today by saying, "Something terrible about someone else does not actually level the playing field. If I met a girl of 14 or 15 today, who is that kind of girl, I'm secretly in my body afraid even though I'm 45. While Tina has admitted that when she turned 13 she realized that she wasn't going to glide by on her looks alone because she was a normal looking person, she had the desire to be funny. While being 13, when she was trying to be funny around the boys, she thought if she mocked them they would like her, but it only backfired on her because they all just ended up being scared of her. Number 7, Angelina Jolie. It's no lie when I say Angelina Jolie is one of the most beautiful women alive, and she would have definitely been considered one of those hot girls in high school everyone wanted to be, but she chose a road less traveled. While it's been said Angelina was definitely a mean girl, she did it in her own way by choosing to rebel against those in the popular crowds. While Angelina attended Moreno High School in Beverly Hills, she would state it was where all the bad kids would go, and she chose it. While she attended the school she would consider herself to be a punk outsider nobody wanted to mess with. Angelina would then also state when she was in school she was considered to be fearless. She would then end up working so hard so she could graduate and move out by the time she turned 16 years old. And while I can only imagine what it was like being a punk outsider moving through the popular crowds that were against her, it's kinda really hard to say Angelina was really a mean girl, because in any photos we've seen of her in high school, she just looks like one of those awkward schoolgirls rather than a punk rebel child. Number 6, Gabrielle Union. Back in 2013, Gabrielle Union would gather with the rest of the Black elite community for the annual Essence Black Woman in Hollywood luncheon. Among those honored, Gabriella Union would receive the Fierce and Fearless Award. While the star looked stunning in her green vintage Versace dress, the actress, during her acceptance speech, would confess that she used to be a mean girl, not necessarily in high school but early on in life. While she claims she now supports other women, her speech was pretty powerful when Gabriella took to the stand to say, "We live in a town that rewards pretending. I had to pretend to be fierce and fearless for a long time. I was a victim masquerading as a survivor. I stayed when I should have run. I was quiet when I should have spoken up. I turned a blind eye to injustice instead of having the courage to stand up for what's right. I used to shrink in the presence of other dope beautiful women. I used to revel in the gossip and rumors. I lived for negativity inflicted upon my sister actresses and anyone who I felt who shined diminished my own." While the actress has also went on to challenge onlookers to live courageously by admitting and correcting mistakes, I definitely still wouldn't want to shine my light brighter than hers. Number 5, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj seriously caused some major chaos in 2022 when she had to cancel her meet and greet in London on the spot. When the rapper was arranging to meet her fans at a venue in Camden in midday, the event quickly spiraled out of control after thousands of fans showed up. When Nicki eventually appeared hours later than what was originally scheduled, she was mobbed by the crowd and even had to be escorted back to her SUV before speeding away. In a since deleted TikTok video from the chaotic scene, it would show Nicki pushing a fan while she was attempting to make her way through the crowd to the venue on foot. Despite fans ignoring Nicki's pleas to form an orderly fashion line outside of the venue, Nicki would make the decision to cancel her meet and greet, and then the police would issue a statement saying it was shut down by the event managers due to safety concerns. And as Nicki drove off, fans started to cry and chase her car down the street. Number 4. Britney Spears. Back in November 2022, Alexa Nicholas would recall a time Jamie Lynn Spears had her older sister Britney Spears yell at the actor on set to the point she became a crying mess as she recalled all the trauma she had to deal with while working on the Nickelodeon set. During the podcast, Alexa recounted that a talent coordinator told her mom he was taking her to get her hair and makeup done, but instead he brought the preteen to talk with Britney. At first, Alexa was excited because she was a huge fan. She thought Britney was just going to help her and Jamie Lynn work through their problems. But after going into Jamie Lynn's trailer, Britney started yelling at her as Jamie Lynn hid in the back room. While Britney has come out to apologize to the star, Alexa would acknowledge how she was a crying mess and that the show's creator even had to give her a DVD player in order to get her to stop crying so she could finish filming. With Jamie's bullying only getting worse as the set carried on, no one really cared for Alexa since it was called Zoe 101 and not Nicole 101, but I think we can all agree Nicole 101 would have been a great show. Number 3. Lea Michele. When Haley Steinfeld was 14 years old, she was auditioning for True Grit on the Paramount lot. And while she was getting ready to leave, she ran into Lea Michele, who was filming Glee. When Haley walked up to the actress and asked her for an autograph, things quickly took a sharp turn after Lea ignored her and continued to walk by the young actress. A guy then came out of nowhere and told Haley it just wasn't a good time. So as Haley walked back to her car wearing an uncomfortable outfit from the 1800s, she would go on to cry the whole way home. Because she was really upset at the person who's been a main inspiration for her own acting work was so rude to her. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree Lea should have at least greeted Haley and told her it wasn't a good time herself instead of storming off. Number 2. Jennifer Lopez. Back in 2014, Jennifer Lopez would be left cringing after one of her superfans dissolved into tears after being rejected on American Idol. With no content with attempting to win Idol, bubbly Ronald Reed was out on a mission to end poverty by trying to make the world a better place. However, when Ronald caught sight of Lopez, he then sat down to share a tuneless ballad, which sent the judges, including Jennifer, squirming in their seats. To the point Jennifer even told him that his voice wasn't strong enough. Keith Urban then had to take over and tell Ronald that he was really sweet, as Reed searched desperately for his mojo after being belittled by Jennifer, as she made fun of his lack of melody. Reed would then be sent home, while 33 other hopefuls made it through to the next round. And coming in at number 1 on our list today, we have Demi Lovato. Back in 2016, Demi Lovato would come to learn about how she crushed one of her younger fans after she canceled her concert. With Isabella Miklos being 10 at the time, she was looking forward to seeing Demi Lovato perform with Nick Jonas in Virginia Beach. After her family pulled their money together to buy her the tickets for Christmas as a reward for her excellent grades at school, when she found out the concert was canceled due to a scheduling conflict, Isabella would be left feeling utterly devastated. In frustration over her child's unhappiness, Isabella's mother then took to her Facebook to share the images of her daughter looking excited on Christmas Eve when she was given the tickets, to crying in the car after learning it was canceled. With Demi canceling her concert just for the opportunity to be on TV, it upset a lot of fans, which is strange since the pop star has always been the one of those few artists which uses her platform to preach about empowerment, and she has so much pride in her work that she's always considered her fans to be her top priority. But then when she canceled her concert to be on TV and said it was a scheduling conflict, it was really just a sad excuse.
Number 10. Lady Gaga. The Maroon 5 frontman seems to have a lot of feuds with female artists, especially ones that you wouldn't expect, like Lady Gaga. Adam criticized her music in 2011 when he tweeted, "Lady Gaga took Vogue and Express Yourself and put them in a blender. The result? Born This Way." Then only 2 years later, he slammed her creative choices when she dropped her Applause music video from Art Pop, which referenced several major works of art throughout history. Adam wrote, "Ugh, recycling old art for a younger generation doesn't make you an artist, it makes you an art teacher. I unabashedly love writing and performing pop music for both myself and everyone around me. That's it. It doesn't need any extra sauce." Gaga hilariously responded, tweeting, "Uh-oh guys, the art police is here." Adam then wrote, "By the way, I'm not an artist, I sing in a band and I make music with my friends. Methinks thou dost protest too much. Yikes. While we're at it, we should call the grammar police." Loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9. Emily Ratajkowski. The model and actress straight up called Adam Levine a while sharing her thoughts about the cheating scandal, just hours after he publicly denied the affair. Emily said, "I don't understand why we continue to blame women for men's mistakes, especially when you're talking about 20-something-year-old women dealing with men in positions of power who are twice their age. The power dynamic is so skewed, it's ridiculous. Like, it's it's manipulative, I can't imagine." In a second post, the 31-year-old followed it up with, "I think a huge problem in our culture right now is we say, oh, men are monsters, they're terrible, they're horrible. Then we don't hold them accountable. We blame other women and ask women to adjust their behavior, instead of just saying that men need to change their behavior. It's sexism, it's classic misogyny." The actress actually filed for divorce earlier this month from her film producer husband, Sebastian Bear-McLeod, after 4 years of marriage, following reports that he was unfaithful as well. So Emily is clearly talking from experience here. Number 8. Lindsay Lohan. Chaos erupted in Hollywood when Lindsay Lohan's infamous sex list was leaked to In Touch Weekly. Adam Levine then went on Howard Stern and denied sleeping with the actress, even though his name appears on the list. The singer was following in the footsteps of Terry Richardson and James Franco, who also appeared on that same list and publicly denied sleeping with her too. Howard asked Adam, "So you don't know Lindsay Lohan?" To which he replied very clearly, "I did not have sexual intercourse with Lindsay Lohan." Then he decided to throw her under the bus completely when Howard asked who did sleep with her, to which Adam said, "A lot of people probably did, I don't know." That last part was both unnecessary and hurtful, but what it comes down to though is that no one except Lindsay and the men on the list will ever know the truth. And while she admitted that the list was real by saying it was a step of her AA program, she didn't explicitly say it was a sex list, so we'll never really know for sure. Number 7. Christina Aguilera. In 2012, Adam started a beef with his fellow coach on The Voice and used a contestant called Tony Luca to antagonize her. The feud culminated with Tony's performance of 99 Problems, which Adam insisted on because he knew it would make Christina uncomfortable. He was right, and she got so offended by the song choice that she told him, "Your beautiful wife and your daughter and family are here tonight, and I just thought the lyrical connotation was a little derogatory towards women." Weeks later, a source told Radar Online that Adam went right up to Christina and called her the C word, to which she responded by demanding that he should be fired. Quote, "She's sick of being treated this way. Christina is so sick of Adam being looked at as the golden boy of the show. If America knew how disgusting he was, they would be appalled." Another insider said that the feud was constant and that the singer preyed on her in subtle and often passive-aggressive ways to deliberately try and set her off. Number 6. David Draymond. The Maroon 5 singer recently got himself into hot water after getting embroiled in a sexting scandal involving flirtatious messages he allegedly sent to several women. But if that wasn't bad enough, just a few days ago it was revealed that he believes that hot women do not listen to metal. This questionable opinion was uncovered when a screenshot of the singer's messages were leaked online. Adam was talking to a woman called Alison Rousseff, who said that she listens to metal. In response to that, he wrote, "Said no hot chick ever other than you." The comment angered a large group of metal fans, especially David Draymond, who is the lead singer of the band Disturbed. David took to his Twitter to defend his subculture and wrote, "I don't know, Adam Levine, I think my wife is pretty damn hot, and so do a lot of other people, and she likes metal. You need to improve your DM game, bud." So not only were his comments very ignorant and stupid, but they were also just flat out wrong.
Number 5. Erin Foster. Erin Foster finds Meghan Markle a spoiled brat who has it all. Now Erin is a comedian, performer, and writer who is known for her history of putting several celebrities on blast, including Meghan. In the months of November 2017, Erin would come for Meghan when she posted a photo of Meghan from her days on the game show Deal or No Deal, and she captioned the photo as "Never Forget." Later on, she would then post another picture of Meghan where it would show Meghan with a briefcase from the same show. Erin would then proceed to caption the photo with an even more rude caption that read, "This briefcase is filled with my plans to become famous." It's no secret that Erin considers Meghan to be nothing more than a fame-hungry social climber, and with everything that's been going on lately, it proves that Meghan is definitely someone who played her cards right to get everything she ever wanted. And now that she has it, Erin isn't scared to call her out on it. While the whole world at first criticized Erin for posting the picture, they should have been looking at the facts that Meghan knew exactly what she was getting herself into. And number 4, Christy Swan. Australian TV personality and author Christy Swan has hated Meghan since the beginning, and following the news on the royal engagement between Prince Harry and Meghan, the radio host wrote on Facebook, "For some reason, I still haven't warmed to her. It's her manner. She looks like she's performing to me. It looks like she's portraying a concocted humility of acting. While Meghan is indeed a brilliant actress, it's not hard to see why Chrissy believes that she is acting to show the world that she is head over heels for Harry. Since the beginning, Chrissy has always been keen on critiquing Meghan Markle. She even first opened up about her judgment on her personal Facebook page, which would state that Chrissy would never warm up to Meghan, as she was under the impression that since the beginning, Meghan has always been acting. And since Meghan has continued to play the same narrative that the royals hated her, and we probably should take this as a hint that there might be some truth behind what Chrissy has been saying. However, instead, Chrissy's Facebook page has turned into an open field of judgment, as hundreds of fans have expressed their agreement or disagreement with Chrissy. So do you think Chrissy is right and Meghan is just acting? And let us know in the comments below. And number 3, Samantha Grant. Meghan Markle's estranged sister, Samantha Grant, would expose her relationship with her sister in a tell-all book. Samantha would highlight that Meghan isn't as innocent as she seems. Even though they grew up in different lives sharing the same father, Samantha doesn't have any sort of relationship with Meghan whatsoever. When the rumors began to swirl about Prince Harry's engagement to Meghan, Samantha stated that she felt like Meghan was taking advantage of her current situation to become a household name. Samantha would even state that Meghan has a history of lying and manipulating certain settings in her sites for no reason. While Samantha isn't exactly a celebrity, she's still worth mentioning because who knows you better than your own siblings. Also, she's had some pretty good opinions on Meghan that we should have listened to before we all took Meghan's side in the beginning. Samantha has labeled her sister as a social climber and has claimed that when she needed her sister at the most, she was never there for her. Later, Samantha would even publicly bash Meghan again when she claimed that she wasn't even invited to her wedding. Given that the two sisters did end up growing up in different households and the fact that they did live different lives for most of their lives, while the world bashed Samantha for just looking for attention when she came out with her story, however, given that we've seen Meghan do a complete 180 in years to come after Samantha's comments, it's safe to say that she wasn't just using Meghan's name for clickbait. Number 2, Katie Hopkins. It's no secret that Katie Hopkins hates Meghan Markle, as she's been scrutinizing every one of Meghan's moves since the beginning. When the scandal of Meghan and Harry first started to make headlines, Katie would hop on the trend and she would share a shocking media rant with the world. The Daily Mail writer and media personality made it really clear that she has no respect for someone like Meghan Markle, with Katie finding her move to leave the royal family distasteful. She would even bash Meghan for being addicted to Instagram. Katie has also been very vocal when it comes to labeling Meghan as an American Kate Middleton and a budget Princess Diana with an Oscar-winning innocent face. Katie was also furious when Prince Harry pleaded to the media to respect his girlfriend's privacy, as Katie would say in her social media rant that if you don't want Miss Sparkle trolled on social media, advise her to stay away from posting pictures of bananas spooning on her Instagram account. Katie's rant would also include her wishing that Meghan and Harry would end up losing their royal titles. She feels like Meghan's relationship is coming off as a desperate to be a celebrity move. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Daniel Radcliffe. Now, Daniel Radcliffe doesn't just have a distaste for Meghan Markle, but he honestly just hates the whole royal family altogether. Daniel has never been afraid to confess that he doesn't agree with the whole country's appreciation for the royal family. Even though he is a patriot by heart, he doesn't understand why there is still a need for monarchy. He also didn't shy away from stating that he is extremely proud to be English. However, he believes that the monarchy still symbolizes a lot of things wrong with this country, and he doesn't understand why countries still follow the monarchy. While Daniel has said that he does sympathize with Meghan because of the harsh treatment she's gotten from the press, he also doesn't think the royal family is doing anything wrong. He simply just doesn't like them because they represent his symbol of class division, which is something he doesn't particularly like because he is an upper middle class kid. While Daniel has chosen to shade the royal family in the most respectful manner, he definitely chooses to distance himself from the royal family for a reason, and we should probably take that as a hint going forward. Coming at number 10 today, we have Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's trouble with Madonna is so long and shady that she could probably ultimately take every point on this list today. After Gaga was deemed the second coming of Madonna, the dueling divas made fun of their alleged feud on Saturday Night Live. However, Madonna later dissed Lady Gaga in real life when Gaga's music is reductive in comparison to her own performing deliberate mashups of Born This Way and Express Yourself to seemingly highlight the similarities. Gaga would then tell a radio show in 2016 that she and Madonna were very different and that she wouldn't make that comparison at all, and she didn't mean to disrespect Madonna. Gaga would also go on to say, "But I play a lot of instruments, I write my own music, I spend hours and hours a day in the studio. I'm a producer, I'm a writer. What I do is different. I'm not just rehearsing over and over again to put on a show. There is spontaneity to my work. I allow myself to fall, I allow myself to break. I'm not afraid of my flaws. I just will not be compared to anyone anymore. I am who the F I am, and this is me. Number 9, Cher. In a 1991 interview, Cher discussed Madonna and her dislike towards the star, and it was pretty juicy as she made herself very loud and clear about her lackluster opinion of Madonna. When the interviewer asked the singer if she goes jogging like the Material Girl, Cher would respond by saying, "Do you mean my very best friend Madonna?" The interviewer then said that the question was made to drag Madonna into the conversation, and Cher responded by saying, "How about dragging her in by her hair?" The believed singer then continued to say, "In my day, I was pretty good at doing the same thing that she's doing, but she does it so much better. She's unbelievably creative because she's not talented, she's not beautiful, but she's rude. But I really don't have anything against her. I do respect that she goes further than anyone else should go." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, David Letterman. David Letterman has disliked Madonna ever since she sat down for an interview with him in 1994 for The Late Show with David Letterman. Madonna was obnoxious and crass during the interview that she would probably make the modern day Miley Cyrus blush, and her actions pretty much left David speechless. During the interview, Madonna went on to drop a handful of F-bombs that just seemed endless. She even proceeded to give David Letterman a pair of her underwear and then proceeded to try to get him to sniff them. Not to mention, when her segment ended, she just refused to leave the stage, while David proceeded to tell Madonna people didn't want to hear her swearing in their homes. When he tried to end the interview, Madonna would say, "Can't this go on?" And Letterman would fire back saying, "Feels like it already has." Madonna would then later claim that her disastrous appearance was her way of protesting against television censorship, but I don't think any of us really believe that. Number 7, we have Mariah Carey. Madonna definitely did some critical damage when she slammed Mariah in a 1996 interview, telling Spin that Mariah's music wasn't art and that if she had to sing Mariah's catalog, she would take her own life. Little did Madonna know that she would open herself a huge can of shade that would span on for decades, because no one ever served shade better than Mariah Carey. When MTV News asked Mariah about Madonna's comment in early 1996, she would shrug and say, "I haven't paid attention to Madonna since I was like in 7th or 8th grade when she used to be popular, so I didn't hear that." Later in an interview in 1998, Mariah would double down on her comments about Madonna after she was asked what she thought about Madonna and Mariah, and she said, "I haven't heard the new album. Growing up, I liked her first album a lot. That was really popular. Good for her." And then 7 times throughout the interview, Mariah would allegedly mock Madonna, not by her name, but using a faux British accent. Number 6, Elton John. Sir Elton John and Madonna's feud lasted more than a decade. Back in 2002, their feud began when Elton called her song "Die Another Day" the worst Bond tune ever. Then in 2003, he would slam Madonna's nomination for Best Live Act at the Q Awards, saying on stage, "Since when has lip syncing been live? Anyone who lip syncs in public on stage when you pay £75 to see them should be shot." This is when Madonna reportedly started to return Elton's Christmas cards, and she even rejected his invitation to perform at his bachelor party. In January 2012, John and his husband David Furnish would both end up slamming Madonna publicly when her song Masterpiece from WE beat out John's contributions to Romeo and Juliet at the Golden Globes. That July, he said on Australian TV, "Who is she? Such a nightmare. Sorry, her career is over. Her tour has been a disaster and it couldn't happen to be a bigger B. And she looks like an effing fairground stripper." In 2016, Elton would even reveal on the Graham Norton show that he and Madonna did eventually bury their hatchet by saying, "I was in a restaurant in south of France a couple years ago when she walked in and I sent her a note saying, 'You'll probably never speak to me again, but I'm really sorry and ashamed of myself, and can I buy you dinner?' She was very gracious and accepted, and we talked. We're fine, it's just me and my big mouth." Number 5. Embarrass Snoop Dogg. Just after Kobe passed away in 2020, Snoop Dogg was quick to call out Gayle King after she stated in a TV interview that in the past Kobe has been accused of making unwanted advances on a woman who wasn't his wife. In an interview video, Snoop Dogg would call out King. In the process, he insulted King's appearance before telling her, "Back off, B, before we come get you." As a result of the outburst, instead of having a private conversation with her close friend, Jada would bring Snoop Dogg on her Red Table Talk show where she would embarrass him not only in front of her mother and her daughter, but also in front of the whole world. After she told the rapper that she felt hurt on behalf of all women when she watched the video of him going after Gayle. As a result, Snoop Dogg was so embarrassed that he would make another video on his Instagram where he would apologize to King by saying, "When you're wrong, you gotta fix it." A derogatory manner based off of emotions. I was raised better than that, so I would like to apologize to you publicly for the language that I used, calling you out of your name and just being disrespectful. But full on, she didn't need to bring him on the talk show to get him to say this. Number 4, drag Tupac's name. If you ever wondered how Tupac would have gotten involved with such a vile woman, you're not alone, as even decades after his passing, people are still wondering what his relationship really was with Jada, especially since she came out to pretty much diss the rapper by saying, "When we first met, I was a dealer." With the two forming a connection while they were both studying at the Baltimore School of Arts, the actor would have to clarify that something very bad happened to make her leave her dealing life behind. And then she would reveal how she got involved with Tupac, and the more she got involved with him, she started to realize that her relationship with the rapper was more just about survival. And then after his passing, it would be noted that Jada broke Tupac's heart after getting with Will Smith, and she would then ask Tupac not to hurt Will, but that was never his intention, and he was hurt that she would say such a thing. Also, the fact she still talks about him today like he's still the love of her life is actually just pretty messed up and really sus. Number 3, Scientologist. Although Jada has tried to claim that she isn't a Scientologist, she has been connected to the controversial religion for years, to the point even an ex-Scientologist named Lee told the Daily Beast in 2017, "I know Jada. She's been in Scientology for a long time. I never saw Will there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center." Lee would then later appear alongside Jada in 2018 for Jada's Red Table Talk show, where the pair settled their dispute, and Jada would say, "My grandmother was like, you're gonna learn all the religion, and then you gotta decide which one you want to practice. I always took the position that I'm here at the Scientology Center to learn what I want to learn, and I have no interest in being a Scientologist. But if you had no interest in being a Scientologist, then why did you open a Scientology school?" Number 2, embarrassed Will Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has never missed the opportunity to embarrass her husband, especially when she heads over to the Red Table Talk show. When Gwyneth Paltrow was even a guest of honor on the episode, Jada quickly came under fire for taking the opportunity to embarrass her husband after the two started to talk about their intimate lives. And the spice started to seem a little too much for Will's biggest fans. Not only did Jada take the time to bring up her entanglement, but she also went on to tell Gwyneth that she and Will navigate intimacy in the relationship and that it wasn't as smooth and easy as both of them thought it would be, especially when she noted that she just expected Will to know what she needed when it came to her intimate needs. When she said, "If you love me, you should read my mind." Twitter users then started to imply that Jada was oversharing or going out of her way to call out Will, and they were extremely disappointed that she would play Will like this. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Makes Kids Diss Will live. With Jada's Red Table Talk show being pretty controversial at this point, we shouldn't really be surprised when she takes every opportunity she can to make her husband seem like he's the bad guy. Especially when she brought her own children on the show to discuss the problems they had with both Jada's and Will's parenting skills. But the whole thing just turned on Will to make him look like the bad guy with no control. In the episode, Willow would tell Jada that she was extremely upset with the way Will handled her success after she released her 2010 song, "Whip My Hair," when she said, "I only have one terrible experience, which is whip my hair. Just the values of people around me should have been the opposite. You and Daddy should have been okay. We value her musical growth and knowledge more than her popularity." Jada then went on to say that Will's approach was definitely different because they both had different childhoods, but you guys both grew up with her in pain, so that just doesn't make sense. Coming in number 10, we have Nicki Minaj. If there's one vital lesson the music world has taught us over the years, it's that we should never mess with Nicki Minaj. Over the years, the rapper has cemented herself as a wig-loving, explicit lyric delivering, no-nonsense force to be reckoned with. So it was only natural that she would have her fair share of feuds with other celebrities that have sparred with the likes of Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, Mariah Carey, and more. However, back in April of 2016, Nicki would tell Ellen that she regrets her past feuds by saying, "I'm a sweet person and I don't want to be mean to people." Nonetheless, that hasn't stopped Minaj from carrying the occasional feud. However, after Nicki decided to beef with Cardi, a lot of fans would be left leaving Nicki behind because it became clear that if you're going to come up into the industry, it doesn't sit well with Minaj as she wants to remain the best female rapper alive. When it started to make headlines and Nicki may have said something about Cardi B's child culture, and Cardi even would take her shoe off and throw it at Nicki's head, it would hint that Nicki might not be the sweet Barbie she's trying to portray herself to be. Coming at number 9, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence is known for her relatable personality and sense of humor, but she's actually not really nice to her fans, and she's even admitted to being incredibly rude in that she does it on purpose when she's in public. During Variety's Actors on Actors series in 2017, Jennifer would have a conversation with comedian Adam Sandler. During the conversations, both would discuss how they both handle the attention they receive from their fans, and it's pretty clear that both like to take different approaches. When Adam referred to Jennifer as being famously light and approachable, she seemed to disagree and suggested that her true temperament might diverge from her perceived persona. Jennifer would then go on to say, "I just generally, once I enter a public space, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge a-hole." Jennifer would then use even more colorful language to describe herself later on. While the star tends to get icy with her fans in public, she would note that she does it because it's the only way she knows how to defend herself. So if you ever see Jennifer in public and want a selfie, just know she's most likely going to bluntly say no, and if you see her at a restaurant when she's trying to enjoy her meal, she's just gonna give you a sour look, wag her finger, and tell you she's not working today. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Adam Levine. Adam Levine is no stranger to the conversation surrounding his alleged rude behavior. Adam is known to often even embrace it, and like many jerks before him, he repeatedly tries to gaslight the public into loving him anyways. The Maroon 5 singer is also known to get pretty rude with his fans when they simply just ask him for an autograph. In one incident, Adam would even proceed to call one of his fans ugly and refuse to sign an autograph for them. If that wasn't bad enough, in an interview with Cosmopolitan, Adam would also express his opinions on cheating, and he would even continue to go on to make excuses for men and why they tend to do it. He would then also go on to admit to cheating himself, and he really didn't seem so upset about his actions. And the fact that he cheated on his stunning wife with Sumner Stroff and he tried to name his child after her proves that there's something truly disturbing when it comes to his personality. Not to mention, but there's also been several occasions where he's just been totally rude on stage towards friends. To be honest, Adam has always acted like a bit of a tool, so it's no surprise to find out he's one of the rudest celebrities out there. Number 7, Tobey Maguire. While it's well known that Tobey Maguire isn't a fan of the paparazzi, he has also behaved questionably with others. One of the biggest incidents he was involved in occurred back in 2014 during a high-stakes poker game hosted by Molly Bloom. It's been said that Tobey often took part in Molly's poker games alongside of other celebrities such as Leonardo DiCaprio and Ben Affleck. However, on one occasion, Spider-Man showed his true colors when he once offered Bloom $1,000 worth of poker chips, but only if she barked like a seal. It said that Tobey purposely tried to embarrass Molly in front of big-name celebrities because she was winning so much that night, and it would later be revealed that this was all part of Tony's plan to take control of the poker game, and that's exactly what he ended up doing after he sent Molly out of business. Today, Tobey is more of a private person whose once over-the-top party lifestyle has been tapered down after he became a dad, and there aren't too many stories about him displaying rude behavior over the past decade, but for this incident alone, he does deserve a place on this list today because who tells someone they'll give them $1,000 to bark like a seal? Hilarious, don't get me wrong, but it's completely uncalled for. Number 6, Britney Spears. Back in November, a Zoe 101 actress, Alexa Nicholas, would spill some tea about her time working on the Nickelodeon series, and honestly, after hearing her story, it made me pretty much hate the whole cast of Zoe 101 for being so cruel to her. In one of her stories, she would detail a very traumatizing experience she had with Britney Spears. During the now viral podcast, Alexa would recount that a talent coordinator told her and her mom he was taking taking her to hair and makeup, but instead he ended up bringing the preteen to talk with Britney. When Alexa walked into Jamie Lynn's trailer, she said that Britney Spears started to yell at her as Jamie Lynn hid in the back of the room. Alexa would then go on to note that even though Britney had gone on to apologize to her personally, Nickelodeon still hasn't. Alexa also would say it wasn't okay because she was 12 and 13 years old at the time, but in retrospect, she knew the dynamic that was in place for her. She said, "I think of course that's what ended up happening, and I think like, oh my god, poor Britney. She's in a horrible situation." However, even if Britney was 8 months pregnant at the time, there wasn't really a reason for her to have an unhinged moment with a star her sister chose to bully for no reason. After the incident, Alexa would be left crying in her trailer, and all the show's creator, Dan Schneider, did was give her a DVD player to get her to stop crying. Number 5. Julia Roberts. When Steven Spielberg worked with Julia Roberts, who played Tinkerbell in his 1991 Peter Pan adaptation Hook, Steven would claim that Julia was extremely difficult to work with. At the time of the movie's filming, it's said that Julia Roberts was going through a really hard breakup with her then fiance, Kiefer Sutherland, who was supposedly impacted her behavior on the set and garnered her the nickname Tinker Hell among the other cast and crew members. However, no matter what you're going through, it never truly gives you a valid reason to behave poorly or mistreat any person. When Steven was later asked in an interview with 60 Minutes what it was like working with Julia Roberts for the movie, he would say, "It was an unfortunate time for us to work together, but I think Julia's a really good actress. But is being a good actress enough for someone to get away with treating people poorly?" Number 4. Mike Myers. Austin Power star Mike Myers apparently has a reputation for being difficult to work with. In an interview with AV Club, Mike's The Cat in the Hat co-star Amy Hill painted an unflattering portrait of the film's lead, right down to the claim that he has a sycophant trailing behind him all day whose entire job seems to be feeding Mike chocolates from a Tupperware container. Imagine putting that on your resume. Amy would then go on to characterize Myers as a diva who constantly made the cast and crew wait while he micromanaged the entire production. Later in a 2008 EW profile of Myers, Wayne's World director Penelope Spheres got her own digs in when she described him as being emotionally needy, and she would even note that Mike got more difficult to work with as the shooting went on. Penelope would also echo Amy's experience when she recalled having to enlist her own daughter to perform the duties of a snack wrangler for Myers. But perhaps her most telling line from the internet was her remark when she said maybe he could open like a children's hospital to clean up his rep. He's gotta do something pretty quick. Number 3. Thomas Gibson. Do you ever wonder why Thomas Gibson just disappeared from Criminal Minds? Well, back in 2016, Thomas Gibson would find himself being suspended and later fired for kicking a writer on the set of Criminal Minds. The producers of the long-running series of CBS would then be forced to announce that the actor, who had been on the drama since it launched in 2005, would not be returning to the show when it returned for its 12th season. The argument apparently happened when the show's creative gave Thomas some direction. Thomas clearly didn't appreciate it. Take this as a word of advice: when it comes to giving direction and you're not the director, it's probably best not to give it, especially if you're an actor yourself, as this is the biggest way to make enemies in the business, and it could help you if you're ever to work on a set with Thomas Gibson in the future. After Thomas was fired, both Deadline and TMZ would also report that Thomas was ordered to attend anger management classes after he was caught shoving an assistant director back in 2010. Number 2. Bruce Willis. It's no secret that Bruce Willis is one of the most problematic actors to work with in Hollywood. When his co-star Sybil Shepherd called him out in his first big project, the television series Moonlighting People, thought it might be personality clash, but since then everyone from Kevin Smith to Sylvester Stallone has talked about how difficult he is to deal with. From superstar action hero to being relatively hidden, it seems like Bruce Willis' reputation has changed slightly over the years, as he's now considered to be one of the most difficult actors to work with. One of the first time Bruce would end up being called out on his odd behavior on set was by Kevin Smith, who directed the actor in the 2010 film Cop Out. Kevin would call his experience soul-crushing and allegedly said at the wrap-up party, "I want to thank everyone who worked on the film except for Bruce Willis, who is an effing wang." 3 years later, Sylvester Stallone spoke out about dropping Willis from Expendables 3 when he tweeted, "Greedy and lazy, a formula for career failure." It would be revealed that Bruce demanded a pay increase despite having a very minimal role in the film. On top of these reactions from stars who have worked with Bruce, it has been well noted that he is a notoriously poor interview subject and his bad attitude is now well known. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Katherine Heigl. For years, Katherine Heigl's departure from Grey's Anatomy remained a speculation, and after she exited the show, she would be labeled as a difficult person to work with in Hollywood. In a tell-all book, How to Save a Life, the inside story of Grey's Anatomy, Entertainment Weekly editor Lynette Rice would talk about numerous anonymous sources about Katherine Heigl's sudden exit. According to Insider, one source suggested that Grey's Anatomy creator Shonda Rhimes felt like she was to blame for Katherine leaving the show. The Insider also said Rhimes felt like Katherine felt like she was the star of the show and she resented that the other actors on the set were becoming stars of their own, and that's why she left the medical drama and turned down an Emmy nomination to pursue other opportunities. Well, it's been said Katherine turned down the opportunity because she felt like she wasn't given material that season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Many felt like it was a quick swipe at Rhimes. Since leaving Grey's, Katherine has been trying to save her reputation in Hollywood, as she claims should have never had strain on it in the first place. Coming in number 10, we have Prince William. A friend of Prince William recently told the Daily Beast that the prince feels utterly betrayed by Prince Harry's new book Spare, and that he hated Prince Harry and Meghan due to the highly personal nature of the attacks they have unleashed on him and his wife, Kate Middleton. After days of sensational leaks and headlines from the book, the friend also said they believe it is now completely impossible that their relationship will ever be healed, and said that although they believed Harry and Meghan will still be invited to the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla, they suspected that William would insist they should be relegated to the cheap seats. The friend would also say that even if Harry and Meghan decided not to even show their faces, no one would mourn their absence. The friend would also go on to say it's impossible to exaggerate the extent of William's contempt for Harry and Meghan now. He absolutely hates them and can't believe that Harry would do this to him and Kate. He feels utterly betrayed and deeply saddened by everything that has happened. There will be no way back after this. The thing that is so sad is that it was a tight family and Harry has blown it all up for what? He has literally turned his entire family against him. It seems like Harry and William have been at odds for a while because in the book Spare, Harry talks about how William attacked him and caused Harry to fall on the ground and break a dog bowl. But both Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace not responding to the allegations, it's really clear that they would rather just let this situation fizzle out on its own. Number 9, King Charles. According to various sources, the one who has taken Meghan and Harry's documentary and Harry's book Spare more seriously is King Charles III, who made the determination to confront the issue head on. While sources close to the king have said that he does not plan to go to the British Parliament to ask Prince Harry and Meghan to lose their titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, he will also not appear to the media to criticize the couple, as he plans to do something more decisive, and that is to cut all ties off officially with the couple. King Charles has basically applied the law of ice to his son and his son's wife, and he will no longer be inviting them to family gatherings, whether it be public or private. It's also been reported that the monarch will not be asking them to accompany him on his traditional vacations in Scotland as Queen Elizabeth II did, and on top of that, they will also not be invited to this year's coronation ceremony of King Charles, which takes place on May 6, 2023. This decision will also affect Harry and Meghan's children, as they will no longer be welcome to participate in royal and religious celebrations. While it's known that Charles hates confrontation, during his first speech in a television interview after the passing of his mother, he would say, "Harry and Meghan, we send you our love, but you know, love has been spurned." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, Howard Stern. Howard Stern isn't a big fan of Prince Harry, and he has a lot to say with Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, with Howard stating that the couple in the series came off as such whiny bees. The radio show host on Sirius XM show would say, "I gotta tell you man, I just don't get it." And honestly, I'm with Howard on this one because I don't get it either. Despite his criticism, Howard would state that he sympathizes with Harry over the loss of his mother, Princess Diana, as the palace treated her really poorly, and Harry lost her at such a young age after watching her battle with this hate. But he would also state, "But Jesus Christ, when those two, Harry and Meghan, start whining about wah 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 wah, they don't like me, and Meghan wants to be loved in this country, it's just weird to see two people who keep screaming, we wanted our privacy, we wanted the press to leave us alone, and then what is their special that they put on Netflix, showing you them and their kids and their life. Howard would then note that the docuseries was like the Kardashians, except it was pretty boring to watch. Howard would then also take time to throw a jab at Harry's relationship by saying, I think he's eventually not gonna dig her, I'm telling you. Number 7, Bethany Frankel. Bethany Frankel's legit rant included the suggestion that Harry and Meghan should make a documentary about women's issues and racism instead of retelling their story about the royal family, and she also didn't hold back when it came to sharing her thoughts on Prince Harry's new memoir, as she thinks the Duke of Sussex has taken it a step too far. Bethany said, it's too late to change the name of Harry's book to Dirty Harry Laundry. I mean, if I had a nickel for every person who had a throwdown with a family member, brother, it's crazy. How much more? In a video, the former Real House of New York City star went on to suggest that a better name for the book would be her own Bravo catchphrase, mentioning it all, while predicting how intimate Harry and Meghan were going to get about their lives in the future. Bethany would also go on to ask what the couple's overall goal was to achieve. As they have money, they're getting the attention they didn't want, but at the same time, they're getting the attention they did want. She would also note that if they wanted to tackle women's issues and racism, they should have made a docuseries about that, but it seems like the biggest topic Harry and Meghan can't stop talking about is their family. It seems like her biggest problem is that Harry keeps trying to get sympathy for Meghan, but the way he and Meghan are going about it is just achieving opposite results. Number 6, Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton has been completely silent about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Netflix documentary, but apparently she's pretty hurt and feels betrayed. An inside source has confirmed that Kate's husband, William, isn't planning to give his side of the story or openly retaliate, and this whole thing is remaining dignified and getting on with the job. But Kate feels hurt and betrayed that Harry would do this to her, especially as the pair used to be so close. In Harry's book Spare, he would write that both Kate and Prince William were allegedly religious suit watchers, and that they were both in disbelief when he started dating Meghan. However, it seems like when Meghan became his fiance and joined their Fab Four, things would take a sour turn, with Harry implying that William felt pressure to marry Kate because she fit into this mold by saying, for so many people in the family, especially obviously men, there can be temptation or an urge to marry someone who would fit into the mold, as opposed to somebody who you're perhaps destined to be with. The difference between making decisions with your head or your heart. My mom certainly made most of her decisions, if not all of them, with her heart, and I am my mother's son. And to hear this must have really hurt Kate, so I don't blame her and the rest of the royal family for icing Prince Harry and Meghan out completely. At number 5, we have Jack Allison. Jack Allison used to write for Jimmy Kimmel Live back in 2010. The writer would then tell a story on Twitter in 2019 about the time he went to a union meeting that James Corden also attended. Jack noted the WGA meeting was only for the late night writers. However, James Corden showed up with none of his staff to advocate a lower pay grade for the writers, which meant James made a special trip to ask a trade union to allow him to decrease the salaries of his employees at the late night show. Jack explained that James wanted to hire writers' assistants, and he wanted to give the assistants a chance to be there, and that's why there would be a lower pay grade for them. James would then later say he never wanted to pay the writers less than they deserved. However, Jack would tweet out later to deny the comedian's claims and said, "I said what I said and it was accurate." At number 4, we have Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is known for his ruthless and hilarious comedy pieces. It didn't surprise anyone when we found out the star would take on James Corden on the show Drop the Mic. Now, when the two finally did take the stage, the insults definitely came spewing out, and both needed ice for the burns they were about to receive. James took a jab at Kevin's height and even brought out a little white stool to get Kevin to stand on. When it was finally Hart's turn to take the stage, he definitely came in with the heat by telling James that he may be small, but his bank account was big. The star then went on to say, people are nice to his face, but when they get home, he's not the comedian they wanted to see. Let's just say this battle was not a disappointment, and it proves that our height does not define us. At number 3, we have Britney Spears. Britney Spears once said carpool karaoke with James Corden was extremely awkward. And the video shows us it truly was. In an interview, Britney said the show was fun and James was extremely nice. However, she found her overall experience awkward. Britney noted that sometimes she would have to tell the star that she didn't want to hear the song again, and it was cut out of the video. One of the songs she asked him not to play again was, of course, Hit Me Baby One More Time. Britney said he just kept playing them, and then he put on a wig, and Britney felt like she had to go along with it because he was so nice, but she was really embarrassed throughout the whole process. Safe to say you probably won't catch Britney in a car with James again. At number 2, we have Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey almost refused to sing a song on Carpool Karaoke. When the singer showed up for her segment, she said she had no idea she had to sing. Mariah was signed on James's first episode, but there was one catch: she was refusing to sing. James said she came out and said, "I'm not singing today." James, being completely understanding, said he would drive around and they would just have a chat. While struggling to initially secure even a fifth-rate act for the show, James was excited to sign Mariah Carey. So when on the drive, he said to himself, this is Carpool Karaoke, so without the singing, it wouldn't be the show he wanted. So the star decided to sing to Mariah, so at least it was still on the show. Luckily for James, Mariah would change her mind and would sing along to a number of her greatest hits with the comedian. In the number 1 spot today, we have Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams once walked out of Carpool Karaoke, and how he did it will definitely leave you laughing. Bryan was invited onto the Best of 80s Carpool Karaoke segment, which would be in honor of the Back to Future anniversary. Now, James would note during a game of Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts that he didn't think Bryan's management's team told Bryan it was sort of a collaboration with lots of other singers from that time period, because when the star walked in and saw the list of other people and saw he was going to be working with James Corden, he walked out of the building and bolted to his car. Bryan was never heard from or seen from on the set again. He just bolted and was gone, which makes you wonder who was on that list to make him bolt, or was it just James Corden? Coming in at number 10 today, we have Ariana Grande. The rumors surrounding Ariana Grande's alleged diva behavior has been circulating online for years now, while Ariana has been denying the claims. In 2014, she would make an appearance on the Australian radio show Mike, E and Emma to say, "That's not real. That's nonsense. My fans know who I am, my family knows who I am, my friends know who I am, and that's all that matters." However, someone would then disagree with Ariana's claims. E! News correspondent Juliana Rancic would say, "I think she does have a little bit of a diva thing going on." The TV host would say, I think I was at the AMAs, she came up to the platform, and I normally stand on the left side of the camera. I had to fight 13 years to get this side of the camera. It's my good side. But I fought 13 years for it, okay?" Little Ariana comes over and I feel like bing, elbow in my side. I'm like, what's going on? And they push me to the other side. While the thought of the two stars fighting over their good side to be shown on the camera sounds hilarious, we weren't really surprised Ariana Grande won this round, because don't forget, if she wants something, she'll get something. So, thank you. Next. Coming at number 9, Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera has built up quite a reputation for not being the friendliest person among the Hollywood's elite. One celebrity this pop star has apparently rubbed off wrong with is Valerie Bertinelli. TV host Andy Cohen would once even ask Valerie to spill the dirt on what went on between the two starlets during a 2014 episode on Watch What Happens Live. She would clarify that she and Christina didn't have an all-out feud, but the singer did snub her once at one of her ex-husband's, Eddie Van Halen's, concerts. Valerie would say, "I was a fan at the time and I went up to her because she was at a Van Halen concert and I said, 'Oh my god, I think you're a beautiful singer.' And she went, 'Yeah, whatever,' and gave me the cold shoulder. And I thought, V, I'm a fan, you can't be nice to me." Now, it's clear that Christina Aguilera hates compliments. However, after Andy asked Valerie if she's ever seen Christina again, the hot in Cleveland star would reply by saying, "I have not, but you know what? She may have gotten better, but I heard she hasn't. And the rumor has it that Christina isn't the nicest person that she's perceived to be on TV and in the movies. And it seems like you maybe want to think twice before you give her a compliment, because you might just get this unexpected reaction that may just break your heart. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Charlize Theron. So you probably shouldn't bother with someone while they're in the middle of a workout. But this is exactly what Tia Mowry decided to do during one particular soul class, and it didn't end up too well for her. In 2014, the former child star would recount a time where she allegedly and awkwardly got snubbed by one of her favorite actors, Charlize. Tia would say, "She wasn't really nice to me. I said hi, and she actually rolled her eyes and said, 'Oh my god.'" Tia would then add that there was no way that she was over the top with her hi, as she knew how to approach another celebrity. Later on, Andy Cohen decided to rehash the gossip with Charlize on an episode of Watch What Happens Next. Charlize would then say, "What a bee," the starlet joked, and when she asked about the stitch, she would then say she never heard this story, and she would ask if Tia actually said it or was it just written. When Andy explained that the tale was originated in the tabloid, Charlize would then respond by saying, "Oh, well, you can't go by that, right? I'm really nice at SoulCycle, actually, because once my endorphins kick in, I'm actually almost too friendly." Later, Tia would even clear the air in 2017 and say it was all blown out of proportion. But was it, Tia, or are you just saying that so she won't roll her eyes at you during the next session? Number 7, Michael Jordan. Now, Michael Jordan is the GOAT when it comes to basketball. Unfortunately, it seems the legendary player's intensity on the court has sometimes translated off it as well, which huge fan and rapper Chat Millionaire realized following an incident with the basketball giant in 2009. "I saw Michael Jordan taking pictures with girls and I was like, man, this is just that one moment I'm going to ask Mike for a picture. I kind of expected him to say no, so I wasn't mad if he said no. The way he said it, apparently when Chat Millionaire went over to ask for a photo, Michael would say, 'Oh, hell nah, man. I ain't taking no pictures with no ends.'" While many of us were shocked to hear this, the story would then obviously be picked up and streamed at the time, even among ESPN, which noted there's also widespread support of the idea that Jordan is no saint. We can't help but wonder if the public perception of Jordan is shifting. As for number 23 himself, Jordan seemingly decided to prove Chat Millionaire's claims wrong, as years later he was seen posting with fellow rap artist 2 Chainz in an Instagram snap. However, do we think this was just him trying to save his image, or was Chat Millionaire actually lying? Number 6, Lea Michele. If you're an A-list celebrity, you should probably avoid being rude to an up-and-comer on the rise. Cue 13-year-old Haley Steinfeld, who was en route home after a successful audition in December of 2009. Haley would say, "I was on the Paramount lot." Glee also films on the lot, and I love that show. When Haley saw Lee walking to her trailer, she would walk up to her and ask for an autograph. However, Lee would give her the cold shoulder and pretended like she was someone that didn't exist. A guy would then approach Haley and tell her, "Sorry, it's just not a good time." Haley would then reveal that the whole thing was just so sad that she actually practically went home crying. Later, Lee would then tell Gossip Cop, who is known as Just Jared, that she heard that Haley was upset and she felt terrible about it. Lee would then say, "The Glee schedule is so jam-packed that the PA probably pulled me so I wouldn't be late to set. I never meant to hurt her feelings. She's an extraordinary talent and I look forward to meeting her one day." However, after claims would come out saying that Lee made several of her co-stars' lives miserable while shooting Glee, it's hard to say if she was telling the truth, as her personality seems to kind of be snaky at best.
Number 5, Ellen DeGeneres. She was one of the most popular talk show hosts in the world only a few years ago, with fans across the globe. But all that came crashing down for Ellen DeGeneres when she was exposed for being ruthless to her employees when the cameras weren't rolling, and just a downright mean-spirited person. Her motto was ironically, "Be kind," and that completely backfired on her when former employees started coming forward with their Ellen horror stories. In a BuzzFeed article, the comedian was labeled a bully and named as the culprit for creating a toxic work environment by one current and 10 former employees, who anonymously gave their true thoughts about her in the article. They essentially confirmed what up until then had only been rumors, with one TV writer claiming that Ellen required anyone who talks to her at work to chew gum from a bowl outside of her office first, and that she would frequently send staff home to shower if she thought that they smelled bad. While the accusations haven't hurt her bank balance, Ellen's image has been tarnished forever, and you'd have to search the internet for days to find anyone that still supports her. Number 4. Catherine Zeta-Jones. You wouldn't think the actress was someone with a bad attitude, but it appears that's exactly what she has. The most famous story about her happened way back in 1998 when an 8-year-old girl was attending a special screening of The Mask of Zorro. She went up to Catherine Zeta-Jones and asked her for some advice on acting, as that is the career path that she wanted to follow. Catherine allegedly looked her up and down and said sarcastically, "You're pretty enough, I suppose," before turning back to her conversation. Not to mention what she said in 2018, which really highlighted how she perceives herself. Quote, "I'm sick of being humble, I really am. Sorry I'm rich, so sorry I'm married to a movie star, so sorry I'm not so bad looking." In fact, according to Page 6, the actress regularly sings her own praises and brags about how much money she has compared to other people. In 2003, she was quoted saying, "$1 million isn't a lot of money for people like us." I mean, if that wasn't enough, she said, quote, "Some people collect art or lots of money. We collect houses because if we have to look at something, we prefer the view." Yeah, most people were not jumping to support the actress with a track record of saying things like that. Number 3. Katherine Heigl. Television, medical drama Grey's Anatomy catapulted Katherine Heigl into the limelight. The thing is, she has a reputation of being extremely unpleasant to work with, and after trashing her most popular movie ever, she lost a whole bunch of fans. I'm talking about 2007's Knocked Up. It was not just hilarious but very well received all round, scoring an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and bringing in $219 million at the box office against a $25 million budget. But Katherine was less than thrilled about her participation in the movie and called the film sexist, telling Vanity Fair in 2008 that she thought the movie, quote, "paints women as shrews, as humorless and uptight. It paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys." She went on to say that she had a hard time with the film on some days because she said that her character was a B-word and a killjoy. Not only that, but Heigl's bad reputation stems largely from her decision to decline a second Emmy nomination for Grey's Anatomy in 2008. She released a cringy public statement that claimed she simply wasn't given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Number 2. Jamie Lynn Spears. Someone that has lost all support from what little fanbase she had to begin with is Jamie Lynn Spears. She's known pretty much as the younger sibling of Britney Spears, but she didn't exactly hide long in her sister's shadow before entering the limelight. Although she made a few appearances in film and television as a child, she didn't receive star status until landing the lead role as Zoe Brooks on the Nickelodeon show Zoe 101. After 3 years on the very popular show, the then 16-year-old announced that she was pregnant, effectively ending her role and putting her acting career on hiatus. But people dislike the star because of the horrific way she has treated her sister over the years. In fact, fans of Britney have heavily criticized Jamie Lynn for an apparent lack of support during her sister's 14-year-long conservatorship. In fact, the former actress has been accused of trying to steal Britney's fortune, fighting against the movement to free her from her conservatorship, and writing tell-all books to try and profit off of her sister's name while trying to make her look bad. With Britney now finally able to speak up for herself and reportedly working on her own memoir, it will probably result in even more exposure of Jamie Lynn's horrific behavior. Number 1. Faye Dunaway. Once called the worst person in Hollywood by Bette Davis, the Academy Award winner is no doubt one of the meanest people in the industry. In 2019, she was actually fired from the Broadway production of Tea at 5 because of bizarre behavior which included hurling objects at crew members and slapping her wig-fitting team, throwing salad on the floor, and even insisting that no one wear white to rehearsal because it's distracting. That's not all. In fact, she reportedly shrieks at service industry employees and thinks that her plane tickets should be upgraded as a matter of principle. A flight attendant once claimed Dunaway was screaming at everyone, saying, "Don't you know who I am?" And while filming Chinatown, the actor once reportedly threw a cup of urine on director Roman Polanski because he wouldn't let her use the restroom. In 2019, she was also sued by her former personal assistant, who claimed that she regularly and relentlessly subjected him to, quote, "demeaning tirades," and used his sexual orientation reputation as a gay man against him. And according to an insider, Dunway was so demonic on the set of Mummy Dearest that no one dared to approach her for fear of being verbally attacked. So it's not surprising that she no longer has many fans left at all.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have The Affair. So it's clear that Jada Pinkett Smith's affair with August Alsina crossed a lot of boundaries, especially since August was one of Jaden's best friends. What makes the situation even more unsettling is that August has even stated that Will gave him his blessing to continue his relationship with his wife. While August definitely didn't do anything wrong to be ashamed about, he did completely give himself to a relationship with Jada just to be thrown to the trash like he was nothing. Even though his relationship might have occurred with honesty and communication between all parties, the age difference between Jada and August definitely raised a lot of eyebrows, with critics being quick to point out that August was in fact introduced to the family as Jaden Smith's best friend. Number 9. Took advantage of August Alsina. When it comes to August and Jada's entanglement, because apparently it wasn't an affair, it was an entanglement, there has been a lot of questions, especially when it comes to the notion that Jada definitely took advantage of August's mental state. When Jada started seeing August, he was struggling to cope with a very vulnerable time of his life. Being 22 at the time, August was struggling with his health, as he was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition that had him hospitalized on multiple occasions. And with Jada stating that she was mentoring him, it would have an inside source tell Page 6 what kind of mentoring was she giving him, where he felt he was giving his all to a relationship that left him devastated and hurt. You did not help him, you destroyed him. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming back at our list today in the number 8 spot, we have Hates Woman. During an episode of the Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett Smith would have a pretty hypocritical moment when she said that the racial divide between women of color and white women should shrink because they have all been oppressed for their gender, but she candidly revealed that she carried her own biased opinion when she said later on, she went on to note that she had a racial bias towards blonde white women. And when she sees a woman with white blonde hair, she just gets triggered and she has to force herself to stop lashing out at them in the process for no reason. Jada then went on to note that she has these feelings because blonde white women used to bully her in school, but we really had to question if this was because she feels scared about the bond Margot Robbie has with Will Smith. Number 7. Tries to become the woman she hates. So we all know Jada hates women who have blonde hair, and a lot of you have pointed out in the comments in some of our previous videos that it's weird that she has such a bias when it comes to women with blonde hair, as she herself has donned the blonde hair baddie movement, which makes you wonder, does she have a tendency of becoming the woman she hates? As it's clear that her comments about hating women had nothing to do with the girls who bullied her in school, and it was more just an indirect comment thrown as a diss towards Margot Robbie. Because as soon as Margot and Will worked together in the movie Focus, Jada started dyeing her hair blonde and telling her husband to get in shape so Margot didn't embarrass him on the big screen. Number 6. The Oscar slap. The 94th Academy Awards was interesting to the point that everybody is still cracking jokes about it today, even at the 95th Academy Awards that just passed. And what's not funny is that everyone keeps making jokes about violence, when the infamous slap definitely is still hurting not only Chris Rock but also Will Smith. After Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's balding head, she would scrutinize her husband by rolling her eyes and giving him an "are you kidding me" look. The look then definitely wiped the simple smile and laugh from Will's face, and he would stand up and take the stage to defend his wife. Even though Jada has been like, I didn't force him to do this and I'm appalled by his actions, maybe she didn't do it, but she did encourage him to defend her name, and she did have the power from stopping her husband from ruining his career. Number 5. Angelica Houston. Adam's Family star Angelica Houston was essentially hurt by Bill Murray's behavior on set of Wes Anderson's 2004 film. Angelica said Bill was horrible after working with him, and in May of 2017, Houston told Vulture that during her first week of set, Bill invited the entire cast for dinner except for her. She went on to say that everyone went out for dinner a little dog-faced at the fact she wasn't there or had been invited, and throughout the day they were telling her, oh, we really don't want to go, but they all went otherwise. The whole situation really hurt Angelica. With the film being shot all over Italy, Angelica noted that she didn't see Bill again until they were on set to shoot in Florence. When she entered the set, Bill greeted her and asked her how she was and even said, "I miss you." In the heat of the moment, Angelica looked at him and said he was full of it and told Bill that he didn't miss her. Murray is said to be confused for a moment but was unfazed by the comment. Angelica showed us that Bill didn't care about his castmates and he wasn't afraid to single them out and make them feel unwanted in many situations. Number 4, we have Richard Donner. In the 1988 film Scrooge, directed by Richard Donner, follows Bill Murray as he plays a selfish, cynical television executive, Frank Cross, as he's haunted by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve. Being the first film that Donner and Murray were set to work in together, Donner was worried because he didn't know if the pair would get along. And considering Murray's past behavior on other sets, I don't blame him. With Scrooge being a box office success, Donner came forward to say that Murray was a super creative actor, but occasionally was difficult to work with. He also noted he was only as difficult to work with as any other actor. Cast and crews have gone on to say that the source between the rift between Donner and Murray was mainly because Murray's approach to acting is fully under the approach of method acting. When on scene, Murray has an approach that is somewhat wild and reckless, which can pose difficulties for actors and directors who are more comfortable with working in more traditional methods. With there being 2 sides to every story, Murray went on to say that the two had a disagreement over every single minute of the day because Donner demanded for lines to be delivered louder. Despite their differences on set, the two were still able to work it out and create an amazing film, which is still today's best holiday classic films to watch for the Christmas season. Number 3, Geena Davis. On the 1990 film set of Quick Change, Geena Davis explained how she was harassed and that she should have walked out. In her memoir titled Dying of Politeness, the Oscar-winning actress highlighted the actor once screamed at her on set for being late and continued to yell as he followed her to her trailer on the set. The altercation happened in front of a large crowd, cast, crew, and onlookers, but the star noted she should have walked away from their first meeting or profanely defended herself so she wouldn't have gotten the part. Davis and Murray first met in a hotel suite where he continued to try to use a massage device on her throughout her audition after her initial refusal. Davis explained she could have avoided the inappropriate treatment if she knew how to react or what to do during the audition, but she also didn't want to appear hard to work with, so she stayed quiet. She then went on to say that there's no point in regretting things, yet she's still here regretting it. This isn't the first time Murray has been linked to inappropriate behavior, as recently on the Searchlight Pictures suspended the production of Being Mortal after allegations surfaced of Murray engaging in an inappropriate way towards other cast members. Murray tried to defend his actions by saying, "I did something funny and it wasn't taken that way." Number 2, Jennifer Butler. On October 12, 2008, Jennifer Butler filed for divorce from Bill Murray, while alleging that their relationship was brutal and uncomplimentary. After 11 years together, the couple's relationship ended with both parties being accused of ugly behavior that played out in front of the press. While filing for divorce, Jennifer also requested at the time that there be a restraining order placed against her husband. While Bill's lawyers did come out to say they couldn't comment on the fact of the case, they did say Bill was deeply saddened by the breakup, and Jennifer Butler's accusations against her husband showed that Murray was aggressive both on and off set, and that her story should have been the reason the star was cancelled years ago before this mess got any worse. The two remained loving parents to their 4 children and would remain that way on best behavior for the best interest of their children. Number 1, Lucy Liu. Lucy's experience with Bill on the set of Charlie's Angels was truly heartbreaking, considering the stars showed amazing chemistry on screen. However, Lucy went on to say that she got into an argument with Murray on set and he started using language that was inappropriate and unacceptable. On the Los Angeles Times podcast, Asian Enough, Lucy said that during the confrontation, she she stood up for herself and did not regret doing it. The star went on to note that no matter how high you get on the totem pole, there's no reason to put other people down. Lou went on to say that the clash came during a rehearsal on a scene which had recently been reworked. Bill was unable to come because he had to attend a family gathering, and when he learned about it, he was upset and hurled insults at her. Lucy definitely wasn't having it, and she definitely wasn't going to sit around and be talked to in a degrading language, so she decided to speak up for herself and stand by the one thing she had, which was her self-respect and dignity. Murray later downplayed the incident by saying, "Look, I will dismiss you completely if you are unprofessional in working with me. When our relationship is professional and you're not getting that done, forget it." Since the incident, many crew members who were on the set have told Lucy they're really grateful for what she did. Lucy then went on to say that since the film, her and Murray reconciled and that they have nothing bad to say about him. The two started talking at the Saturday Night Live reunion, and he was perfectly nice to her, but she also noted she would no longer sit around and be walked all over. Like Lucy, many stars have addressed their concerns about Bill over the years, and Hollywood should have been keeping an eye on it before matters got worse. Coming in at number 10 today, we have Katy Perry. Have you seen all the drama surrounding Katy Perry and American Idol? Well, if you haven't, let me get you caught up. So recently, a 25-year-old mom who was bullied by Katy Perry on American Idol decided to quit the show while on stage in tears. When Sarah Beth Libby first appeared in front of the judges to perform "You Know I'm No Good" by Amy Winehouse, many viewers criticized Katy Perry and the comments she made during Sarah's audition. Sarah would later open up in a TikTok video in which she described the incident as being hurtful and embarrassing by saying there was a joke that was made that's gotten so much attention, and she then went on to say, "At the start of my audition, before I sang, I mentioned that I had 3 children and I was a young mother, and Katy Perry made a joke that wasn't super kind. Now the mom of 3 has decided to call it quits, and it's not for the reason you might assume. In an episode of the singing contest, she sang Roxanne by the Police before suddenly quitting and telling the judges after finishing her song, 'The opportunity is really rad, but this is actually going to be my last performance because my heart's at home. So I'm going to get home to my babies, thank you.'" With Sarah returning to the stage, Katy Perry would then beg the contestants not to leave, but Sarah stood her ground and left the show. And now we're all wondering if Katy Perry might be replaced as a judge on the show. Number 9, Justin Bieber. Well, we all know Justin Bieber is all about his personal space, and in 2017, he would show his fans that they probably shouldn't approach him and ask him for a selfie or an autograph. While Justin was in Australia for a leg of his world tour, he was approached by a female fan looking to take a selfie on the street, but instead, she would be left in tears. During the encounter, which was filmed and shared on the internet, the singer rebuffed her request by telling her, "Look at your respect level, look at you, you make me sick." In one swift move, he then took some bite of his food that he was holding and got into his car. His Melbourne fan then recalled during an interview on Nova 969, "I took the photo anyways because I thought, when am I ever going to have this moment in my life?" Well, Justin went on to receive some major backlash for how he handled the situation. In a brief dispute, the star seemed to go into digital damage control, uploading more photos of himself welcoming his fans, including a throwback photo of him shaking hands with a young girl on the beach. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. Coming back to our list, in the number 8 spot today, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Did you know Jennifer Lawrence once made a grown man cry in a bar before? Well, apparently she did, and she even talked about the incident when she appeared on the popular chat show Late Night with Seth Meyers. When Jennifer was in the capital of Hungary for the shooting of Red Sparrow, when she ventured into the bar on a night with some friends, she would be drinking with her company when a fan approached the group and asked Jennifer to take a selfie with him. When the actress declined to take a photo with him, he apparently kept on insisting, to the point Jennifer and her friends had to ask him to leave them alone. Things quickly then took a sharp turn after the man got agitated and said "F you" to Lawrence, which then riled up the star, and she snapped, and she then grabbed her fan, threw a drink in his face, then poured it all over his suitcase, and after her friends stopped her from doing anything else so insane, she then noticed her fan was in tears. Number 7, Miley Cyrus. So Kendall Jenner has been a fan of Miley Cyrus for a while now, so it probably didn't sit so well with the model after Miley Cyrus recently called her out on her mean girl behavior. So at the height of Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber's ongoing feud, after it was revealed that Kendall Jenner helped Hailey Bieber make fun of Selena Gomez in a video, news would shortly start to circulate online that Miley made Kendall cry at the Versace fashion show in Los Angeles. Apparently, like the rest of us, she didn't like the way Kendall and her buddy Hailey were being mean girls towards Selena, and she wanted to call them out on it. So no one really knows what Miley said or didn't say to the model, but not long after the rumor went viral, Selena then posted a selfie and tagged Miley and captioned the picture by saying "Violent Chemistry," which is a song from Miley's new album, and fans immediately started to suspect the post was connected to Kendall's and Miley's confrontation. Number 6. Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire isn't your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and yes, he did play Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean his nice on-screen persona can be found behind the scene, as apparently the star isn't as nice as he seems, especially when it comes to his fans. With there being several reports of the star displaying in some pretty odd behavior when it comes to interacting with any of his fans, he once took things a little too far. When Tobey was walking back to his hotel in Paris, a fan walking right beside him held out a camera in front of the star to snap a picture of his face. Looking annoyed, Tobey then out of nowhere slapped his fan's hand, which caused him to drop his camera and it shattered on the sidewalk. So as Tobey continued to walk away with his entourage, his fan would be left in tears. And number 5. Jason Segel. Following the premiere of X-Tape at Union Square Theater in New York back in 2014, Jason Segel would find himself under fire for being unbelievably rude to fans who had shown up to support him in the new film. Eyewitnesses would later tell gossip sites that when Cameron Diaz and Jason were leaving the theater with a handful of fans asking for photos or autographs, the two celebrities just opted to treat them like dirt. The witnesses would even point out, while there was only 4 to 5 fans waiting, it's not like the fans were following them, as it was a premiere for fans to attend. However, both stars' attitudes towards the fans were absolutely disgusting. When a 20-year-old fan asked Jason for a photo when he was leaving the premiere, Jason would scream no, and he would literally slam the car door right in the fan's face. People in the crowd would then gasp to acknowledge how bad the moment actually was. Jason was downright nasty to his fan when there was no need for it. As there wasn't a huge crowd of people waiting for the stars, it was only 4 to 5 people, and it would have taken them less time to interact with the fans than it was to give them each lectures and slam doors in their face. So while Hollywood has painted him to be the sweet guy next door with the characters he plays, he's definitely not the guy we thought he was. And number 4, we have Jennifer Lawrence. So Jennifer Lawrence is known for her relatable personality and sense of humor. However, she hasn't always been super nice to her fans, and she's even admitted that she can actually be quite rude to her fans, so she can avoid interacting with them. Which is actually a pretty odd behavior if you think about it. Jennifer has said that her fearless approach to life doesn't come across well in the public eye. And in 2016, Jennifer would even lash out at a reporter for no reason because he was looking at his phone during a press conference instead of paying attention to her. She's even tried to explain that the reason she acts so rude is because it's the only way she knows how to defend herself, as she gets really protective about her private space. So if you see her out for dinner and you think it's a good idea to flash a couple photos on your iPhone, just know she's a really rude person and she might just call you out on it. She definitely doesn't want to, but she will do it. So people in the future, leave her alone because she's not your friend. And number 3, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock may play these compassionate, caring characters, however, that doesn't mean that her real self is as kind or giving. And she's actually been described by many fans as one of the meanest people in Hollywood to meet. While the star refuses to make time for people, she was once considered to be one of America's sweethearts. However, her rude behavior has caused her to lose that title. In 2014, Denise Coates told Star magazine that she was out with her husband, who happens to be a war veteran, when they ran into Sandra in Boston while she was filming The Heat. Sandra was on a filming break, and when Denise and her husband approached her, Sandra just ended up being extremely rude. She would cover her face and would even start yelling at the couple and threw insults at the man in the wheelchair after they just asked her for an autograph. Now sure, we get it. Not all celebrities have time to greet their fans because they're on this busy schedule, and we understand it can be annoying when they're hounded by mobs of fans. However, with it being just a single wheelchair-bound veteran and his wife approaching you in a polite request, did the autograph really warrant a yelling match? She could have just turned down the request. Instead, she just shocked us all with her rude response. And number 2, Tobey Maguire. When Tobey Maguire had a pretty bad gambling habit, he was reportedly part of the infamous poker ring with Molly Bloom. Now, Molly organized games many Hollywood superstars attended, mid in the early 2000s, but Toby was one of her most frequent visitors. In her memoir Molly's Game, which was made into a movie, she would reveal that Toby was one of the worst tippers, best players, and absolute worst loser. Molly would also reveal that Toby once tried to humiliate her when she was at the tables by demanding that she should bark like a seal who wants fish in order to earn $1,000 in poker chips, all because he thought she was making a little too much money that night. When the poker game organizer added that she just tried to laugh it off, the actor continued to persist, and he would go on to say, "I'm not kidding. What's wrong? You're too rich now? You won't bark for $1,000? What makes this incident even more funnier is Toby would even refuse to play without a shuffle master, which is like a $17,000 device that's supposed to deliver a fair random shuffle, and he even tried charging the machine for rent as he wanted $200 a night every time it was used. And coming at number 1 today, we have Christina Aguilera. Now, Christina Aguilera may be a vocal powerhouse, however, rumor has it that the star hasn't always been the nicest when it comes to her fans, and she can actually get pretty nasty with people auditioning or performing on The Voice. When Christina was still a judge on The Voice, she would even go as far to scald one of the contestants because he wasn't paying super close attention to her critiques. With the singer repeatedly asking the male singer to take off his pants, he thinks she would have stopped after asking him for the 3rd time. And her behavior would just get more worse as the show went on, as her attitude reportedly didn't even stop when the fans were actually famous themselves. Even actress Valerie Bertolini said that she once approached Christina to say, "Oh my god, I think you're a beautiful singer," and she would claim that Christina paid no attention to her comment and just said, "Yeah, whatever," before walking away. Coming in at number 10 today, we have Kate Middleton. When sibling rivalry is a common thing, Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle have drama that is a bit more than that. When news started to arise that there was a lot of tension between Kate and Meghan as the two were not getting along, this meant that Harry and William were also not getting along. With the whole family not seeing eye to eye, it became super hard on everyone, including the Queen. It said that the Queen was actually so fed up with the drama that she even ordered Kate and Meghan to sit down and sort it all out. With Kate feeling like Meghan was using her to climb the royal ladder, Kate would even use this time to state that she was very suspicious of Meghan and that she had no interest in becoming Meghan's friend. Soon the media would even start to state that Meghan made Kate cry on her wedding day. Although Kate would end up sending Meghan flowers to apologize, Kate still didn't want to have an opportunity to become close to the actress. It said that Kate was really hesitant about pursuing a friendship with Meghan when they first met, as Kate is a very private person and she likes to keep things that way. While Kate tends to keep a really tight circle, she doesn't let a lot of people in, and she's always felt like there was something extremely off with Meghan. While the tension between the two has become more tense, the royal family, including Kate, have decided to cut Meghan and Harry out for continuing to spread lies about the royal family in an attempt to tarnish their legacy. At number 9, Piers Morgan. The feud between Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle tends to get pretty nasty at times. While Piers has stated over and over since the beginning that Meghan was a liar and that we shouldn't dive too deep into her story, we probably should have listened to him. Piers' relationship with Meghan began back in 2015 when the actress apparently messaged Piers after he had followed some of her Suits castmates. While Meghan went on to claim that she was a big fan of him in the beginning, I think it's safe to say that she probably isn't a big fan now. When things rapidly started to disintegrate between the two after Meghan became a household name thanks to her romance with Prince Harry, it seems like their feud first started to boil over Meghan's first message to him. In 2016, after Piers and Meghan had been in constant communication with each other, when Meghan went to a private members club where she met Prince Harry, Piers would then never hear from Meghan again. So it's clear that her relationship with Piers was only for clickbait so she could get some views. However, when Harry came around, she realized that she could get everything she wanted or Piers could give it to her, and essentially she left Piers behind. As soon as it was announced that Meghan was dating Harry, that's when his first dig towards Meghan came public, and since he's continued to mock her and call her out on her behavior. Now, we have seen dozens of people get ghosted by Meghan when she sees that their relationship isn't getting her anywhere in the spotlight, as we've seen her do it to her friends, her ex-husband, and almost all of her family. Hey Peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Wendy Williams. It's It's no lie that Wendy Williams loves talking about celebrity gossips. While hosting the Wendy Williams show back in 2021, she didn't shy away from her true thoughts about Meghan Markle when Meghan and Harry made the decision to leave the royal family. Now, after Wendy watched the groundbreaking interview Meghan and Harry had with Oprah, she would cast her own doubts about Meghan and claim that her friends actually tried to warn Meghan not to marry Prince Harry because the media probably wouldn't be too kind to her, as they're not really kind to any of the royal family. With Wendy claiming that Meghan weaseled her way into the kingdom before leaving the United Kingdom for Los Angeles, with Wendy claiming that Meghan was lying about her story, Wendy would then claim that Meghan should have listened to her friends instead of pretending not to get it when her friends warned her about the British media's fixation on the royals. Wendy would also state that Meghan knew what she was getting herself into when she joined the royal family and that no one really has sympathy for her. Wendy would then try to claim that Meghan knew what she was doing because no one knew her when she was on Suits, and Wendy only knew her prior to becoming a royal because she wanted to be a runway model for her company and came in for an interview. Coming at number 7, we have Corey Vitiello. So it appears that Meghan Markle was still living with Canadian Society chef Corey Vitiello when she went on her first date with Prince Harry. In a recently published biography, Tom Bauer would then claim that Meghan was still living with Corey when she set up a date with Prince Harry in London back in 2016. Tom would write that the romantic relationship between Corey and Meghan was hanging on by a thread before she left for Europe in the summer of 2016, yet both were still having troubles with discussing on how their relationship would end. But Corey still living in the couple's house while Meghan left for the United Kingdom, he had no idea that their relationship was completely doomed. The two first met when Meghan was eating at his restaurant with Suits cast, and Meghan even gushed over Corey in a review in The Take where she dubbed Corey as her favorite chef. When their relationship had finally run its course, instead of breaking things off Corey, she went to England to seek a new romance. While in England, Meghan would then be set up on a date with Harry by a friend. And then, when Harry came to visit Meghan in Toronto, Corey would realize that the relationship was officially over and Meghan's cruel and sensitive soul would be revealed to the world. Coming at number 6, we have Trevor Engelson. If anyone knows the true colors of Meghan Markle, then it would be her ex-husband Trevor Engelson. Trevor, who is a producer, has kept it pretty tight-lipped when it comes to talking about Meghan. However, when royal biographer Andrew Morton released a book on Meghan called Meghan a Hollywood Princess, the book would dive into the idea that Trevor actually had a lot to say about Meghan. He was actually just waiting for someone to believe his side of the story. According to Andrew, Trevor actually dislikes Meghan. When Trevor and Meghan first got married, everything was fine. However, after she started to rise to fame, she would begin to treat Trevor like the dirt under her shoe. And if this isn't giving you any red flags, then maybe I should bring up the fact that the palace staff has also said that once Meghan moved in, she also treated them like the dirt under her shoe. Trevor felt elevated in their marriage at first. He didn't really think anything was going wrong. However, things finally ended and it would leave behind a never-ending cold fury towards Meghan. With Meghan once claiming that she couldn't imagine her life without Trevor, she would then mail him back his wedding ring instead of breaking things off in person, and she would then come to the house to collect her blender. And it said that Meghan initially just called things off because he refused to cast her in any of his shows. Number 5. Messed with August Alsina. Just weeks after August Alsina dropped his bombshell revelation interview, Jada would be forced to confirm that the pair did in fact dive into a romantic relationship, and after she left August, he would be left feeling devastated because Jada took advantage of his mindset when he was at his lowest point of his life. With Jada previously saying that she was mentoring him through a tough part of his life, it made us all question what kind of mentoring she was giving him where he felt like he was giving his all to a relationship that left him feeling devastated in her. With August being diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, he spent most of his relationship in and out of the hospital, which made it easy for Jada to get her hands on him and to consort him into a relationship that ended up destroying him when she threw him to the trash after her husband agreed to take her back. Number 4. Blaming everyone but themselves. When Jada and her family decided to get real during one of the Red Table Talk Show's episodes, we would learn that the whole family has a problem with keeping their egos under control, as from time to time we have seen them all admit that they weren't the nicest people to be around, and that you can't always trust them based on the way they have made themselves look. With the family doing some very unloving things to the people they love the most because of their fear and their ego, ego, it seems like once their ego kicks in, if they are in trouble, they become vicious and mean. Even when they are in pain, instead of being more vulnerable to talk about their issues, they shut themselves off and blame everyone else around them as the problem. And this has become a deep problem for the family because they won't let themselves be open and release the pain. And instead, they hide it away, they let it build up, so when it does finally release, it explodes and it creates one giant mess. Just look at the Oscars incident for an example. Number 3, bad parenting. So it turns out that the bigwigs at Sony aren't the only ones who have questions about Will and Jada's parenting skills. Things got real for the family in 2014 when a picture of their daughter started to go viral after it showed Willow in bed with a shirtless 20-year-old man. With the photo slowly starting to become a viral meme, it would soon spark a police investigation and family services to look into the snap of Willow, which was posted online but removed shortly after. Sources would then tell Radar Online that Will and Jada were extremely cooperative with officials, but they weren't really happy about all the scrutiny they were facing when it came to their parenting skills. Social workers would then have to talk to Willow and the man in the picture, which forced Jada to eventually break her silence on the matter when she was approached by the press at an airport in Los Angeles, and she would tell E! News in that process, here's the deal, there's nothing bad about that picture or the situation, you guys are projecting your trash onto it and you're acting like you know better, which is not cool. Number 2, Jada's lie. Jada hasn't exactly put her family into a great position, especially since she has proved that producers and hiring agents actually can't really rely on her family's word, especially since she has admitted to lying to get a gig. As Jada once revealed that when she was offered a role in The Matrix Reloaded, she was pregnant and she sort of lied just so she could secure the job. Though the role was perfect for her, she may have lost out on the opportunity to play the part if she had been 100% truthful, as she was pregnant with her daughter Willow at the time and the filming schedule required her to begin in November. But there was a small problem with her daughter Willow also being due that very same month. In a video for Vanity Fair, Jada would tell the outlet that she lied just a bit so she could get the role because she was obsessed with the idea of being in the movie, especially since she lost out on the lead role. So she told them her baby was going to be born in October. Luckily for her, Willow came early, otherwise the production would have been delayed or Jada could have ended up being replaced. Either way, productions have been scared of facing similar issues when it comes to hiring this family. And coming in number 1 today, dropping contracts. While the work Will has done has definitely proved that he's a man with a bright future ahead of him because he's a talented actor, when it comes to Jada's work, she hasn't really yielded stellar results. And maybe that's why when it comes to Willow's career, she isn't afraid to back out of last-minute movie deals. Take Annie for an example. It was a much anticipated remake of a beloved Broadway musical, and when the production on the film ended up being stalled because Willow decided to drop out of the lead role, the final product failed to hit the $100 million mark at the box office, which is an essential milestone for any family movie released over the holidays. With most critics finding the movie sucked, with Willow dropping out of Annie, she made the whole film feel like it was a giant missed opportunity and a big letdown. And it has producers wondering if they go to hire her in the future if she's going to back out of their films as well.